Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Sorry there for the slight technical issue that we faced. I'd just want to wait for a couple of seconds to let everyone join in. And in the meantime, I would also like to do a quick audio video check on our side with my team. So hold on, we'll be starting shortly. Thank you so much for all of your patience. Hello and a warm welcome to the Digital Dragons Awards 2023 and Thrive L&D Chapter 2023 hosted by the Indian Business Council. I am Soumya Samuel, your host for today. DDA, which is short for Digital Dragons Awards, is in its sixth edition and it's a coveted recognition for digital excellence in India. Today, we'll be honoring leading professionals, exemplary campaigns and case studies, innovative products and solutions, and outstanding entities and organizations in the digital industry. Thrive is an exclusive ecosystem that has been created by the Indian Business Council to drive conversations, collaborations, and thought leadership that will transform the world of work. Particularly in the L&D chapter of Thrive today, we'll be exploring ideas, strategies, and practices that drive individuals, teams, and organizations in the L&D space. So, on our agenda today, we definitely have the much awaited awards for the great work that we've seen last year in the space of digital marketing and L&D. At the same time, we also have some interesting talks and panel discussions from inspiring, experienced, and thoughtful leaders. And we have some amazing topics and even more amazing discussions awaiting us today. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. Our first segment for the day, which is our keynote address. And the topic for the keynote address is the CLO Superpower Learning and Development as an Employee Retention Strategy. And here to share with us impactful insights on this topic is Hetal Dandia, Director, Talent and Learning at Marsh McLennan Global Services. A little bit about Hetal before we get started. Hetal has distinguished herself by leading learning and development teams with a visionary approach, strategically partnering with businesses to enhance talent capabilities and elevate performance metrics. Her expertise is broad and deep, encompassing performance improvement, business needs analysis, instructional design, interpersonal skills, and training delivery. Hetal, we'd love to have you on stage.
Hello, everyone. I hope all of you are able to hear me. Sorry for the technical glitches that we had. Welcome once again to this wonderful segment sponsored by Thrive. So I'm looking forward to the awards that are there, but at the same time, I'm really excited to have this opportunity to talk to all of you. The address or the topic that I have today is around what CLOs or Chief Learning Officers have up their sleeves when it comes to uh, helping organizations with employee retention. And I'm going to talk about some of use cases that I have worked with in the past organizations to ensure that employees stay for longer, have more meaningful career opportunities with the organization, so that the organizations and the colleagues themselves can have a win-win situation. So I'm going to spend the next 25 minutes or so talking about this topic. I would love to hear comments for you. So please feel free to ask questions or just type in into the comment boxes. your views, your thoughts, what you have tried, what has worked, what hasn't. But today's entire short discussion is going to be about what research says, what experience has helped me identify as some of the few key things that all learning and development professionals can use as a superpower to help organizations retain colleagues. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, let's identify what are some of the concerns the CXOs or the CEOs want, and at the same time, what is a top priority for our CLO? So our CLO is, sorry, Soumya, can you move on to the next slide if you don't mind? Or if you want, I can present as well. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we can go to the previous slide. So one of the top priorities for any CLO or any learning professional is to kind of get business to invest more in learning initiatives. And it's not an easy task. Every year, if any budget has to be cut, it's obviously going to be the learning budget, which is looked at the first. I think probably travel is the first and learning comes second in that priority list. But obviously, all of you have struggled and would have faced the same things. Why do I need to invest more, or why do I need to continue investing in learning initiatives? What is it that I'm getting out of this? And this is what any CLO needs to keep convincing business that no, learning initiatives are important. And I think one of the discussions that we have had in the past, to give an analogy, that what does a learning team bring to a table? And if the organization was a car, say, just for 1 second, imagine if the organization was a car, we are definitely not the fuel. Okay, we cannot be in a mindset that we are as essential as fuel. Maybe not, but fuel may be something like profits that drive the car. But what is it that we play as a role in, if we were to give an example, that organization is a car or an engine, or it's a something that needs maintenance, it needs upgradation. And what we, after a lot of brainstorming, came, and I would love to hear if you agree, don't agree, please type into the chat box if you agree or you don't agree, that we came up that we are actually the engine oil. Because a learning and development team may not be as critical or as essential for the business in their mindsets as fuel to run the car or the machinery, but we are definitely as important as the engine oil, because we keep the machinery going. If all learning initiatives were to be stopped tomorrow, definitely the car won't stop immediately, but over the long run, because of the wear and tear, because of no upgradation, because of no maintenance, the car is going to get damaged in the long run. And that's what learning and development brings to the table when it comes to the organization. We are that engine fuel, which kind of keeps the machinery maintained, we keep the machinery moving, and we ensure that we give the business what they need to do without breakdowns. So please do type into the chat boxes if you agree, don't agree with this analogy. If you have a different thought process, would love to hear. Thanks, Mayur. Yes, we can go to the next slide, Soumya. What are some of the things that would make a CLO happy? Obviously, CLO is not worried about whether learning is happening or not, how many hours of learning is happening, what is the kind of different types of learnings that are happening. The CLO or the CEO is worried about what is happening in terms of productivity, performance, profit. How do I grow my performance? How do I grow my profit? How do I improve retention and engagement so that I don't lose my top talent? How do I ensure that the business is growing? I'm able to bring out innovative products. My products are best in the market. They are able to beat competition. I am, able to do better on all of these three metrics. And this is what CEOs are concerned about. So obviously there are two opposing views. CLOs want to invest more in learning initiatives, and CEOs are more worried about how do I increase performance? How do I increase productivity? How do I increase retention, engagement, and how do I bring about business growth and innovation? And you would be surprised at how both of these elements are connected. And it's many a times it's CLO's job to help organizations realize that both of these things are very, very highly linked. So more initiatives that learning brings in, and that too, focused learning. And I will quote some research in the next slides, which supports this theory. And obviously, multiple years of experience that I have into this field will also, I'll give you some examples that I have worked with, which has really, really ensured that we are able to drive all of these matrices through learning initiatives. So, Soumya, if you don't mind, can we move to the next slide? Yes. So employees who get professional development opportunities are 15% more engaged, and is at a conservative level. They have 34% more higher retention than those who don't. Now, this is from an HBR article, and there are much better numbers in various other studies. Again, I'll show some of that research also. We can move on to the next slide as well. Which shows that, again, organizations who have a strong learning culture, who are focused on giving a learning journey linked to career maps, have 92% higher innovation versus somebody who doesn't, have 52% higher productivity, have 17% higher profitability, and 50% more retention. Now, these are the numbers that the CEOs are looking for. These are the numbers that will motivate any CEO to invest in learning. These are the numbers which should convince business to agree that there is a link between learning and all of these parameters that they keep measuring, whether it's innovation, whether it's productivity, whether it's profitability, whether it's retention. And I'll share some of the use cases that I've worked with in my past organization, where we have seen how these initiatives have helped us retain our colleagues. We can move to the next slide. So some of the things that CLOs can ensure to make sure that learning counts is have some sort of stage-based developmental part for all colleagues, not just for their current needs, but also for the future needs. We need to kind of give opportunities, not just to develop functional skills, but also behavioral skills. Now, this is very, very important, especially in terms of highly technical colleagues, especially in technology or operations or sales, who are constantly very, very focused on developing their functional or technical skills, but usually ignore the behavioral skills until it's the time to get promoted to a leadership level, when they realize they can't be great leaders because they have never developed those skills. Learning through multiple methods is also very important. You will not have learners who will only like to learn through one methodology. So you need to have a variety of learning methodologies that you can use, whether it's self-paced, instructor-led, whether it's mentoring or peer learning, whether you can use simulations or game-based or gamified learning approaches, or some sort of brown bag where you can use some sort of informal learning methodologies. All of these have proven to be very, very helpful. And having a combination of these in a learning journey helps learners keep engaged, helps them get more out of the learning journey that they want to explore. Moving to the next slide. This is one of the sample learning strategy that has worked very, very well in my organization. We started by identifying what are the various broad career stages that we have in our organization, and we try to ensure that we have something or the other as a career development opportunity for each of these stages. And what has this helped us to do has helped us improve retention significantly. More than 60% of these participants stay for 3 or more years. More than 90% of participants at least are there for 1 more year after the program is done. Because once they go through this developmental journey, they are more confident to apply for internal job posting, for promotions. So their retention numbers are higher. So let's look at some of the things that this kind of model has, which probably you can use also. Uh, Again, have a strong learning strategy for your individual contributors, because they are the ones who are actually driving your business results. Something for aspiring managers, people who are moving from individual contributors to first time people managers. That's also very, very important, because that's where majority of your IJP numbers come in from. For people managers, how do they? So there can be something like an induction, there can be a managerial development program where they can constantly keep upgrading their people manager skills. For leaders, there needs to be some sort of leadership development program. We have multiple leadership development programs, something for women colleagues only, something for senior leaders, something for mid-management leaders, and so on. And then we have something like a coaching strategy for our CXOs. So CXOs as well as CXO -1, we kind of take them through a coaching journey to build them for the next positions, to build them for CXO level. All of these initiatives has helped significantly in getting our retention numbers where we wanted to see them. Moving on to the next slide, I can see that we have little time, but don't worry, we are almost through the slides. I would love to take some questions. So if you have any questions, do type into the comment boxes. I would love to hear from you. So key takeaways: establish learning as a key differentiator while driving business results. What we discussed, the numbers that we discussed, there's a lot of research that is there to support these numbers. Find those research. If you're just starting or you're just building a learning culture to support your arguments, or you support your ask for learning budgets or learning initiatives. Leaders and managers have to become role models for learning culture. It cannot be bottom up, it has to be top down, where leaders demonstrate a positive learning culture. They demonstrate by learning themselves. So identify leaders who are highly influential, ask them to talk about learning that they have done, how they feel learning would benefit, and so on. Design and publicize the learning linked to career growth. So identify learning which can actually help colleagues advance in their careers. So find out or strategize some of the things which are really, really linked to career growth, which will motivate more and more people to stay on, complete the learning, and aspire to grow within the organization. That also helps in retention. At the same time, that also helps ensure that the colleagues are not just looking at short-term development, but are also looking at long-term development. Okay. I think I have a question from Abby. Okay, how can organizations ensure that learning and development initiatives are aligned to both individual career goals and organizational objective? Great question, Abby. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes, they can be two different things, but see, learning, I look at it from multiple lenses. Definitely, organizational objectives are essential. And when your career, um, related journeys are to be designed, I would focus or give more importance to organizational objectives than to just individual careers. But I understand that individual career goals also are there, or learning goals are also there. But then, like I said, have multiple learning avenues. For example, in our organization, we have Degreed as our LXP, which opens up a lot of learning content from various sources and gives it to the colleague to explore for for individual needs, whereas we have structured learning journeys which meet organizational objectives to develop future leaders or to develop a certain kind of leadership behaviors or managerial behaviors. And that's how we ensure that there is a balance between individual learning goals and organizational objectives. I hope I was able to answer your question. Would love to get more questions. I think one of the and then another number that I wanted to show you was on the previous slide. If you can just flash that, that would be really nice. So yes, 94% employees would stay. So this is based on a research done by LinkedIn Workplace, and they spoke to many employees, and 94% of employees stated that they would want to stay in an organization longer if the organization was willing to invest in their career development. So there are multiple ways to do that. I see one more question. If we have time, Soumya, to take this question.
Yes, absolutely, Hetal.
Okay. What emerging trends or tech do you see shaping the future of learning and development as an employee researcher? So there are so many. I was actually, hoping that some of these questions would also come in. Definitely, I think one of the biggest learning trend all of you would agree with is generative AI. Platforms that are available or tools that are available, and they are your best just in time learning coaches that you can have, and hyper personalized, just in time, right at the moment where the colleague needs it. So that is something that's very important. Invest in some of those. So many organizations are creating their own versions of these AI tools. For example, my organization has an internal tool called Len AI, which is like safer than an open chat GPT, which helps colleagues learn on the go. So you can type in questions, whether it's with regards to anything that the colleague or a learner wants to learn. Plus, LXPs like Degreed help learners get learning in a very user-friendly manner. So they, kind of popularly are known as, Netflix of learning. So they help you collate a lot of learning and again hyper personalize it based on what the colleague needs in terms of skills. So these are some of the things I think that organizations should invest in, and there are so many other advancements that I foresee coming in, especially thanks to generative AI. So yes, let's see what all will come in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hetal, for that lovely discussion. And I think giving a great start to the event itself. I might have a bunch of questions to ask you, but maybe I'll take that offline with you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thanks once again.
It's a pleasure.
Moving on to our next segment, which will be our panel discussion. And this topic, again, very relevant to current times, and it is learning and development in the hybrid world. Leading this discussion, we have Jagriti Mehta. Jagriti is the head HR at Sridevi Tool Engineers Private Limited. In this role, she leads and manages all aspects of human resources functions, including recruitment, payroll, statutory compliance, corporate insurance, and performance appraisal. She's also responsible for designing and implementing employee wellness and engagement programs that foster a positive and productive work culture. Thank you so much and welcome to the panel, Jagriti. Moving on to our next speaker, Anand Dhruv is the Associate HR at NTT Limited. Anand comes with over 20 years of rich experience in human resource management and in various areas, including manpower planning, onboarding and orientation, performance management, employee engagement, talent management, and more. Committed, dynamic, and results oriented, he excels in decision making based on intuitive and logical reasoning. Welcome to the panel, Anand.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker for the day on this panel is Yahya Rashid, Global Head of L&D BCP and Head of GDC for Chennai, Madurai and Sri Lanka Digital Workplace at HCL Tech. Yahya comes with 23 plus years of leadership experience across esteemed organizations such as Franklin Templeton, Dell Technologies, Sutherland, HP, and more. Certified as a Lean Sigma Black Belt and Kaizen Champion, Yahya has published two white papers for APQC on enhancing Net Promoter Scores and leveraging robotics process automation. Thank you so much and welcome to the panel. And our next speaker on this panel is Farzeen Khan, CHRO Being Human Clothing. With over 2 decades of experience in HR domains, Farzeen brings expertise in organization restructuring, HR transformation, HR risk management programs, career and succession planning, HR business partnering, and more. Her diverse experience spans across sectors including finance, retail, telecom, consumer durable, media, and information technology. Welcome to the panel, Farzeen. Thank you so much. Over to you, Jagruti. I'll be here on standby if you need me for anything.
Thank you very much, Soumya. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, so thanks, everyone, actually, for being on to this lovely afternoon. I'm sure we have a lot of takeaways from everyone throughout this Thrive session. So, coming down to the direct point, so we will have a lot of time for our session and engagement onto much of multiple questions that we can take. Coming to the first question that I would like to have Mr. Anand answer, that is, how today in this hybrid world is L&D effective? So from your perspective, what all are the action points that you're doing, and some like onto the ways where we can work, because hybrid usually makes it very difficult to have this learning and development details, implement as well as have that effectiveness. So yes, over to you.
Great. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and welcome panel for this wonderful and enriching fruitful session. So coming back to the point, L&D as a function, and particularly when we talk about the current hybrid environment, if I put it on all together, first thing, the environment, the learning environment continues to be what it was. What has changed is the dynamics have changed. For example, earlier when we used to work as an organization, we didn't have that, flexi culture or work from home culture. Thanks to COVID, that molded all of us, and then let me be honest, it forcefully molded us, and then we all agreed, that yes, so this is how we need to now start as a team, work as a team, and then slowly and gradually everybody got adjusted to the work from home culture. And today, the best part and the beauty is we as an organization have this flexible option for our team members, for our employees to be able to complete the task. There is no one particular day or one particular time frame which has been assigned, but definitely if the workload is there, people are smart enough and flexible enough to manage the load basis on their workload, basis on their priorities. But yes, we as an organization are flexible. We have given the options to all our employees wherein all 6 days, 7 days, the office is open. It's up to you, basis on your requirement. How do you want to work as a team? But on average, typically, if I understand the statistics, it says that on average 2 to 3 days is what people prefer to work from office, and 2 to 3 days the people prefer to work from home. But at the same time, if I understand the dynamics, I have somebody who is willing to work 5 days or 6 days a week because of personal reasons. Similarly, I have a big segment of my female employees and many of my other employees and even my male employees who prefer to work, permanently from home. So we have given that flexibility to our employees to be able to choose as per the need, as per the requirement. And yes, the flexibility is there. But coming back to the question, we as an organization, we had certain mandates which we follow as an organization, that these are the mandate training. For example, compliance is something which we cannot compromise on. Whether we do it in person or whether we do it in a hybrid mode, in an online mode, is what we have given the options to our employees, our team members to choose as when is needed. But yes, learning curve constantly is something we as organization are personally monitoring, because I have a mandate of certain number of training days which compulsorily we have to
Yeah.
complete, whether it's online, whether it's in person, whether we have a leadership excellential training, or whether we have some excellent programs. We have given all the options open, because what is the most important aspect is my employee learning. Because I strongly believe the day our employees stop learning, they stop growing. So learning and growth goes hand in hand. These are my first few sentences, lines on this subject before we hand over to others. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you very much, Drew. Yes, learning, I will say that whatever age or whatever position you are, learning has to be a continuous
Yes.
thing. That's the constant that doesn't change. Coming to that is the linked is my another question for Ms. Farzeen, that I believe you come from a retail, background where multiple onto your majority of your staff will be on fields. So engaging them, ensuring that their learning curve is successfully being done, because that's the tough task. When you have a hybrid model, someone at the desk, it is still fine that they can measure a time, like saying that okay, lunch, they will do a quick lunch or have a quick bite, and they'll engage into their work or sit a little extra and complete their course. But when a person is on the field route right there, or at the store, how do you manage, or what are the tools that you are using and ensuring that the learning and development curve is met?
So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I think, in retail, yes, there is a slight challenge in terms of, how do you actually get that uh, typical man hours of training completed. So, what we've kind of done, we've taken this as a challenge, and we put the ball in the court of the employee. So we've said that while we understand that retail as an industry doesn't sleep, so we are 7 days open, right? Of course, people have their rosters and they manage their weekly offs and so on and so forth. But hybrid works very well for us in terms of the learning agenda to be driven. Why? Because is we kind of plan certain sessions while we say, that uh, online really works, but we still believe that the classroom model also works well, and we kind of plan that activities in such a way that it's being done either in the early morning hours and only for a few hours, so that the business loss is not there, and the people also get to know what is actually to be driven in terms of a functional training perspective. Behavioral, of course, we have a lot of online tools which we use, and our LMS, which kinds of give them an option to do micro learning, learning on the go in terms of the apps, in terms of gamification, which is there, which kind of helps us. In fact, it's really been uh, really an appreciative methodology for us to see, where we've kind of started now, publishing certain results in terms of regional and city-wise achievement for the people who undergo on a training or an L&D program, which could be online, which could be offline. We use a lot of virtual reality programs today, which kind of gives us an edge over the other players in the market. And also, when you start populating this data, there's a competition which is built in within. So people have now
Yeah.
started realizing is that okay, so like, and the leaders, which are the middle management, even I'm saying the BU heads, have kind of realized now that let's use that as a mechanism so that our productivity and sales increases, which kind of hits on the ROI for the business. As very well said in the earlier discussion by the esteemed speaker, the learning strategy which has been done across the retail segment, because we have a lot of people who are at back end as well. So we've kind of drafted a separate strategy, not only for the front end, first for the back end as well, which includes your frontline managers, which includes your people managers, your IC contributors, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of
Also,
what.
this may be, sorry, Farzin, but also this also helps your employees, I believe, onto a point where motivation is also there. Because frankly speaking, every time monetary aspects are there, but being cheered or giving that appreciation, or someone, as you said, that you put out the results. So it itself is a motivation, like, going up a little extra mile.
In fact, that's also helped us, So I think I'm really proud to say that here Jagruti is like, as an organization, we've been, of course, a great place to work certified, but with a 94% participation.
That's
I
a
mean, it's
nice,
really high, and we've done it
yeah.
across front end and back end. And what do you say? The levers, which really had a lot of good rankings, or I think the best in the industry, was L&D engagement, and the culture piece. So I think that's what we are driving, and it's not one size fit all kind of a model. It really doesn't work,
Yeah.
because if in front end, where we have a lot of people on the stores, you will find certain set of people who are like really out of the box, and some people who really need the basic product training, which is like very, very important. So I would rest
Sure.
it here, and yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much, Farzin. I wanted to know, Mr. Yaha, good afternoon. Uh, Mr. Yaha, you come up from a very rich onto the background where you might have met onto multiple aspects of people from various industries and various levels. So, in hybrid model, how much it is? Yeah, for sure, it's certain times you have tangible results to see. We put in data entry, there are the results. People might have applied for the test, but the effectiveness of this trainings that people take in. Sometimes what happens, you have taken the training, the motto is there for 2 or 3 months, then some work pressure comes in, it's died down, then again there is some learning curve has to happen. Now we start again from the scratch. So how do one maintain as an HR representing, how do you maintain that effectiveness implementation as an ongoing process?
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be amongst this august audience. See, we are at an inflection point right now, for, at least from the industry which I belong to. Right, we're having disruptions at scale. So we continue to see a 90-day or 180-day kind of changes that happens to the business environments. A lot of business digital transformation and so on that happens. So we have to be extremely agile in terms of letting our people be conducive to the growing changes to the environment, right? So for us, it's we have to look at it's motivation for the employee. What's it in for me? We address that pretty effectively, but at the same time, what we see is how much of profitability that we are able to bring in, because we are in a business where once we have our people, there's we don't have the people right skilled at the right time, there's a revenue leakage within our business, right? So we have to ensure we plan ahead, as well as we ensure our people also are right skilled, so that they are exposed to the work that they do. So we kind of have something called as a skill fungibility index, where we look at all the demand that is required, what kind of new style of IT, new skills that are coming up, and so on. So we build on our skills ontology. We map what is our existing footprint, our existing career landscape of our people, and how we can probably develop them through shift left, shift right, upskilling them at laterally, and so on, right? So we have to think aloud, and we have to ensure that our employee database is more conducive to accommodating all of these changes. And with that, we also ensure that people who have been skilled, right, in the different fields of technology, we have the right set of work that is available for our people, so that people tend to take up and then demonstrate that. Because if we have them skilled early, and if they don't have the work to perform,
Yeah.
then they really get into a kind of a catch-22. They forget the skill set, and then there's demotivation as well. And
Yeah.
also, once our people acquire those skills, right, they have the intent and the approach required in terms of ensuring that they are rewarded both from a comp perspective or an incentive perspective. So that's the kind of what's in for me for our people, and our business also gets benefited to it.
Great. So next on to, I am sure, because the data that you collect will be very much helpful when you have kind of another kind of an investment. Usually we HRs, I'm sure an audience also will relate to this. Multiple times it happens that for a training or development section where we need to have an extra fund or a new tool, because today there are multiple tools there in the market. Every now and then we need to have them upgraded, or there is an additional module that we might require, but asking for that an extra fund, the first question is, up till now what has been achieved, how effectively it was. So that is that boardroom conversation where I would like all three of you all just to say, as an HR, when you are sitting as one of that chair member, how do you handle such questions? Yes, any one of them. Dhruv, Farzin, anyone can answer.
So one important point, which I would want to appreciate on this platform, along with the two other panel members who spoke. When you talk about learning, there are, in my career I have experienced, and we have examples wherein we have rewarded the person as an incentive, and that entire course was sponsored by the organization. That talks a lot about the motivation level of the employee. While we may not be the best pay masters, but definitely from a learning point of view, we have awarded and we have given rewards to the employee. And there are dedicated IIM and ISB programs which the employee has attended. That definitely improves your morale. That definitely improves the motivation level of the employee. And all this curtailing to the L&D as a function definitely adds a lot of value to the entire learning mechanism. In continuation to the question, as a function, as L&D, as a team, definitely every organization today strives to ensure that the learning curve continues. The moment, if there is a compromise which happens in any of these initiatives, it's going to impact your overall P&L. There's a boardroom conversation which happens. There's a very a joke kind of discussion that agar if we don't train the employees and they leave, and we definitely train the employee if they leave, it's always better to keep them trained, because they are the ones who are going to keep your motivation levels up. They are the one who are going to ensure that we are able to meet our productivity, we are able to meet our P&L, we are able to meet the demands, and overall as an organization we are able to achieve that equilibrium which we have planned as an organization. And I'm sure we all as HR L&D professions try our level best to achieve that ballpark figure. These were few points, because I wanted to hear from both of them and wanted to add on the L&D part, particularly giving incentives as a learning and development program is something which has really worked well in past as well. Over to others.
I think from my perspective, I think investment and getting it from the CXOs, having your check signed, is demonstrating the larger picture, right? We don't want to get into and boil the ocean. I see a lot of organizations tend to go and identify LinkedIn learnings, and then they sign up with various different tools, and see. If there is a tool, if there is a new buzzwords of late within the industries are pretty repetitive, right? You have buzzwords coming in every now and then. But whether you are going to invest in your people and your organizational strategy based on the big picture, what you have envisioned, is what you need to, align yourself with. It's extremely important, right? And so when there is, where the, put your money where the mouth is, right? So have a strategy where investments in a certain area will lead to an additional work stream or creating a Moneyball pillar, I think really helps solve the larger perspective. We don't have any conversations pertaining to why this investment could be a bad investment. So as HR L&D professionals, one has to get into the skin of the game, right? In terms of understanding how this tool or intervention will translate into different revenue streams. I think that's my 2 cents.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yes, Farzin.
One bit from my side is, the basic question, which is, what is that problem statement which is going to help you solve with the tools which you're trying to get into the system? I think if that
Yes.
problem statement is aligned to the business need, it's just there. And I think today, uh, the seat in the board for HR is not the ones which were there old times. So, yeah, it's
Completely
just,
agree.
and I'm sure L&D is a very, is a chapter which people really look up to, and also in terms of the developmental uh, areas which, as a CXO, you would want to drive and attain, along with the
Hmm.
businesses to flourish, is something which is required. So I'm saying one problem statement which actually helps you solve the problem. Then it is XYZ tool. It doesn't make any difference. I think we are at
Completely
that.
agree.
Yeah.
Sure. So I believe we still have ways where people can ask questions. So audience, I will say if there is any particular question that you would like to ask, please put it across so we can have a discussion. My another last question coming up is today we all know that finding skilled person in any of the industry, let it be manufacturing, IT, retail, or hospitality, is at a very heavy price because the standardization that we have, like today, maybe 5 years back, I had a person who was a programmer would be drawing, say, 30,000, though his experience was 5 to 7 thousand, 8 years experience. But today, the same 5 to 7 years experience might be quoting me a price of, say, 75 to 80,000 or even a lakh for that matter. So, for bringing that person, I cannot have my standardization or rules broken. So where is this learning curve? Or either you pay the price, bring the person, but then your internal skill metrics and all goes for a toll, or you wait and have that right modules or turn. So in such scenario, what each one of you work out, and what are the approach notes that you do it?
Today the myth has been broken, Jagruti. I think it's no horses for courses kind of a thing, right? It's basically a 12th grad kid. I run a program called Tech B, right? We have this large investment of people from 12th grads who are actually challenging some of the most tenured people in the space of artificial intelligence and robotics, right? So that's the kind of skill we are talking about, the Gen Alphas and so on, right? So all of this, there's no cost. It's all about whether you bring the value to the table. Then the conversation exists. Likewise, I think in every industry, I think Farzeen also spoke about, and my other esteemed colleague Anand also spoke about. Uh, right, different facets have withstood the pressures of each industrial challenges. Everyone is going through a lot of transformations, right, and disruptions. So one is not as if insulated completely from different challenges and say that I come at a price point. Rather, what value you're going to bring in to the table is what defines in terms of how a person A is going to get rewarded versus person B. Experience or qualifications don't determine all of that. It is a thing of the past. The current one is more around how much you bring in. Like I said, right, a 12th grad can challenge a guy from a BTech from a different esteemed college. So that's all matters. The intent, the larger purpose, and the skill the individual brings into the table.
Okay. Fair enough. Because okay, I would like to also have a phase where I belong right now to a manufacturing industry, where such norms really create a lot of issues because when you have a person A who is drawing a certain part of, like, say, amount as a salary and has an experience, versus when I bring a Gen Z who is much faster, far more, keeping up to the skill sets, might be expecting like a little more. But then when the HODs or respective business units come, like, how am I supposed to handle this parity? Because experience versus the skill set is what comes in between. So I'm sure, like, we all in some or the other time will be facing such scenario as an HR. And then, where is where we include this learning curve also. So, to have that salary compatibility skill set in house. Yes, Percy.
So, you know what? I always feel there is always a difference when I answer this question when I switch on from one industry to the other industry. So when I was with the BFSI vertical, we really had to have this factory of people available,
Yes.
because the attrition was high, and you need to have these people ready-made available, of course at a lower cost, because you couldn't
Yeah.
have increased your what do you say, manpower budget in terms of
Yeah.
refilling the position. So and then how do we do this talent movement, so I think CDP really played well there in terms of, how do we move people across levels.
Hmm.
Of course, that's the benefit which we have in large organizations, where you can really do that in terms of talent movement every 12 months, every 15 months, every 18 months, depending upon the role. And then keep having these factory of people available, which can start at the
Yeah.
entry level, and then you can build people's career, and that's how can help them in having a learning curve. And of course, the major agenda which is being driven, was being driven, I think, and will be the retention of an employee.
Yes.
That really works. In
Sure.
the current organization also, I think we've been able to do that. But we've taken a slight different approach in terms of looking at more, because we are expanding really at a very high speed. So the tier 2, tier 3 towns in India, in fact the tier 4 towns in India, has a lot of talent. How do we tap them and get them onto the board, is something which we are driving, and that's really working well for us as an organization. And then what career growth we'd give them.
Yeah.
So that's a bit from my side. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anyone who would like to, Soumya, I would like to see if there is any questions from
I
audience.
think there is a question there.
Yes, I can pull up that question for you. So the question is,
Yes.
what role does continuous feedback and evaluation play in optimizing learning and development programs for a hybrid workforce? And how can organizations implement effective feedback mechanisms?
Yes. So I would like to ask Mr. Rashid if you can answer this question, please.
Yeah, so I think it's an important element, right? So be it in a instructor-led training environment or a e-learning or whatever, right? It's important that the outcome of the training investment is, be it in the effort, is kind of feedback into the whole chain of command, right? So before we launch this training programs, what exactly are some of the problem statements, what are the challenges, we have to get those consolidated. And then once the training is delivered, we also have to ask both from the trainer as well as the facilitator and the trainees in terms of whether the objectives were met, right? And then based on that, both in terms of practicalities, in terms of different facets of learning, right, with it experiential learning or micro learning, bake those feedback, getting those feedback consolidated in the first step, and then bake those feedback for the subsequent batches, so that all of those learnings are built up for ensuring that there are no pitfalls for the subsequent batches as well. we get a lot of organizations today lay stress on the feedback mechanism, so that it is not just a 180-degree but more of a 360-degree feedback, so that we cover all bases, both from an infrastructure perspective, tool perspective, trainer perspective, trainees perspective. All the perspectives are assimilated and kind of done.
I completely get it, because majorly if feedback effectiveness, I have seen, like, multiple times we used to just give the forms, people just fill in and just give, not being much more mindful about it. But today with multiple Google spreadsheets, you have your in-house training module, it really records, and it also helps the trainer the next time if they have to have a segment, what shift or what things have to be emphasized. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Rishi. Yes.
We also
Yes,
have
sir.
one question if anyone would like to take it. This one's from Samir, and Samir asks, asynchronous learning has become popular in remote and hybrid work culture. So the question is, how can organizations ensure the effectiveness and engagement of learning experiences for employees, maybe particularly in the asynchronous learning situation?
Yes. Who would like to take this? Fareen? Or yes, Anand.
Oh, okay, Anand. Would you like to take it up?
Please continue. I'll add on to it.
Okay. So, see, anything for that matter, whether it is asynchronized, synchronized, virtually led, individually led training programs, I think it is all on the discipline of a participant, and in terms of
Yes.
the attitude which the person brings onto the table when he or she wants to undergo that kind of a training. See, there are plethora of programs which are available on the LMS platform, which is from the need of the hour perspective to something varied courses which is available. Now, somebody who chooses to do that needs to firstly have a discipline to kind of undergo that program and ensure that he or she is getting value added in his or her own personal and professional career options. I'm saying engagement and learning experience would differ from an individual to individual, depending upon there may be a point that I chose asynchronized learning program which I felt was better for me because it was available. But however, 6 weeks down the line I realized I'm not utilizing it. So then what's the effectiveness of that program? Which doesn't mean that, as in uh, I really actually didn't spend time on that and I didn't do it, but that's an experience. So I'm saying nowadays in hybrid work culture, or even for that matter, even if you're not in a hybrid work culture model, people want to learn something which is out of the box, and which nowadays there is a pool of organizations which is giving away all these tools and courses which are there, which is through asynchronized learning. Now it's on an individual to actually gain what is available and benefit out of it. If you ask me, my personal favorite has been asynchronized learning, because, and I actually started this during COVID era, where we were all of us were at home, had a lot of ample time, during the evenings, early mornings, because बच्चों का school खत्म हो जाता था online. Then what do? You have certain calls to attend. So there's a lot of courses which I learned myself, and trust me, as basic as calligraphy. And because I wanted to do that, if it wouldn't have been a asynchronized model, I think I wouldn't have had that time to do it. So I believe it's also up to an individual to take it up. Yeah.
I completely agree to that, Farid. Yeah. Yes,
No,
Anand.
please finish,
So
Jagriti. I'll add on.
I also wanted to share that, as she said that, she took up during the COVID. Being as an HR, no one will think we'll do a designing course. But there was something which I found on Coursera was human-centric design thinking, which literally helps, as in being into HR fraternity, how you design your own company organizational development roles different, but in a way of designing platform. So no AutoCAD or but simple PowerPoint things, but you make it more interactive. Yes. Yes, Anand.
Great. And yeah, Great, thank you. And that's what, it's a bouquet of service. So today, when we talk about it, those days are gone, and especially in the last 8 to 10 years, things have really, really changed. The traditional way of L&D and the traditional way of, change, the way we all have been functioning. Even HR has gone through a lot of transition as a function. I don't want to name the organization, but I have worked in a company where HR was at least 1 kilometer away. The entire organization used to sit. So coming back to the learning curve, synchronize, asynchronize, whatever the models are, we today have a bouquet of service. And that's how when we offer a bouquet, there are options available for the employee. And then that is what is the need of the ask today, need of the hour today. Because today there is a bouquet, there is options which are available for the employee to choose and pick basis on the requirement which we have. And that's why we have these ready capsule modules. Like I still remember we as an organization, we as a corporate function, you used to take people for a 3 day outbound training, and there was a heavy investment in travel and all that. But today, these capsule modules have replaced the learning curve. And that's how today people are looking forward to new and new learning mechanism. And that's how, whether it's synchronized or synchronized, what matters the most is how much at the end our employees are able to absorb, convert that into a productivity, and at the end, how much they are able to add value to the organization at the individual level, at a group level, and at an organization. That is where everything boils down to, because at the end, as I said, a happy employee makes a productive employee, a productive employee is a happy employee. So all these are linked to each other, and that's how we all need to strive our level best to be able to continue the learning curve with whatever models which are currently available. Because today there are variety of options which the employee are ready to choose and pick basis on their need, which was not the era earlier. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, Soumya, I would like to know, do we have some more time or, I mean, as there any
I
questions there?
think we are almost was the end of it. Thank you so much for sharing different perspectives from different industries as well. I have one question that's come on YouTube. Sounds more like a fun question and something that's related to what you've been discussing right up till now. It says, post-COVID reality check. How would you say the ratio of online versus classroom learning development looks like? So maybe you put numbers to it in terms of what that ratio looks like right now.
While
There's
there
no
is no
change.
quick answer to this, but what I understand is, if because just going through my L&D statistics, on average, earlier it was more of a 90-10, but today it is more from a 80-85% options, and today 10 to 20% is what we drive it from a in dedicated classroom driven session. So yes, dynamics have changed in the last 5 years, from 80-20. Today I'm heading to 28.
Anybody else? Would you like to take that question?
I think I would like to echo what Anand has said. The percentage might slightly change basis the industry which we all represent,
Yeah.
but then the entire dynamics and the ratio has actually changed.
Yes. I would also say, Soumya, where training would have been, if there is a session kept, people will ideally plan their leave or someone will get sick or something on that. But then today, people want to learn more because they know if they are not having that learning curve, they don't exist anymore or they won't be at the parity. You might be still there in the organization, but you don't have that ladder to go beyond and above. So everyone has understood more or less, but in their own ways, like if they have to be into the race, which we all don't want to, but still have to be a part. Yeah, that's from my side, and thank you very much everyone to be a good discussion, and I'm sure there is a lot of takeaways that we were able to share. Thank you, Mr. Rashid. Thank you, Farzeen. Thank you, Anand. Thanks, Soumya, for organizing this. It was wonderful to be here.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
so
everybody.
much.
It was lovely connecting with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We'll quickly take a 5 minutes break and we'll be back again with our next panel. Thank you so much and welcome back. Our next panel discussion, and this topic I think is something that we cannot not discuss about. And this is about, are we only scratching the surface of AI potential in the digital industry? Leading this conversation as the moderator, we have Ankur Dasgupta, CMO Shisham Digital, an experienced marketing practitioner, growth driver, and thought leader with 23 years of learning and applying, encompassing online and offline media. Ankur has led cross functional roles with expertise in marketing, digital ecosystem, general management, and thought leadership. Ankur has been part of the core pilot team of multiple success stories of launching and scaling new IPs in India. He has orchestrated multiple successful media and marketing solutions across FMCG, BFSI, entertainment, edtech, fintech, retail, luxury, healthcare, and more. Welcome to the panel, Ankur. Our first speaker on this panel is Rituraj Bidwai. Rituraj is the performance marketing consultant at Rituraj Bidwai Enterprises. With more than 17 years of experience in marketing and brand communication, specializing in digital, Rituraj has held the position of digital marketing head at Soba Developers and its furniture home decor e-commerce business, which is MeterCube. He achieved over 80% reduction in CPL and CPQL for 60% of the portfolio, alongside increasing lead quantity and lead quality. He has successfully managed end-to-end portfolios of brand awareness, including ATL and BTL activities. Welcome to the panel, Rituraj.
Thank you for having me here.
Moving on to our next speaker, Shitanshu Dikshit, lead digital communications at Pernod Ricard. Shitanshu is a marketer by mind and a musician by heart. An eventful journey of 10 plus years in marketing with awards and recognitions from leading platforms in India, he loves to solve problems in the most creative way. Shetanshu has worked at Mindshare, Group M, and for ITC Foods and is now leading digital communications for Pernod Ricard India. He says his mantra for successful marketing is, while businesses may be B2B, B2C, or D2C, they should always aim to drive conversations and be human to human. Welcome to the panel, Shetanshu.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next speaker, Balaji Vaidyanathan, Director and Head of Marketing, Central and Eastern Europe, Middle East and Africa at Franklin Templeton. Balaji is an award-winning, passionate marketing leader with a wealth of experience driving groundbreaking integrated marketing campaigns and strategic initiatives, leading from the front to build and inspire global cross-functional teams across complex organizations and enhancing brand positioning, value, and revenues. He has been recognized as a global marketing influencer and creative brand champion, an innovative and adaptable leader who excels in galvanizing new opportunities and optimizing outcomes. Welcome to the panel, Balaji.
Thank you, Soumya. So nice to see you again. And that was a very tongue twister of an introduction for me. I don't even know how much of that is actually true, but just glad to be here today and hopefully make a contribution to this interesting topic that we have.
Glad to have you as well, Balaji. And moving on to Shubhabrato Chakraborty, founder and CEO of the digitalfellow.com. A digital marketing student for over 27 years, he is the founder of the Digital Fellow and the Digital Fellow Academy. With cross industry experience, he has launched, managed, and advised 120 plus top national and international brands across various sectors. The digitalfellow.com, a premium business consulting firm he founded, specializes in digital transformation and partners with businesses to overcome challenges and drive growth. Welcome to the panel, Shubhabrato.
Hi, thank you so much.
Hi, and over to you, Ankur. I will be here on standby if you need me for anything.
Soumya, thank you so much. Am I audible, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, you're audible.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Super. So I observe that, there are already first generation human-like digital workers being created, artisan AI being one of the examples. And I know as stakeholders in this ecosystem, we keep on reading and discussing about this interesting topic. First of all, I thank Indian Business Council management and organizing team for bringing us this platform to discuss around such interesting topics. The more we discuss, the more we learn, the more it gets engaging and interesting. With this, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and distinguished panelists, welcome to our discussion on this interesting topic. Are we only scratching the surface of AI potential in digital? As a moderator, I'm delighted to steer our conversation into the depths of this complex and, let me say, dynamic field, at least as much as we can do justice in the next, say, 50 to 60 minutes. I consider myself very privileged to be sharing the stage today with all of you, experts and dear industry friends, as I get to learn a lot as well in the process of this discussion. And, for the benefit of everybody, we had an interesting session over the past weekend, on what all we should be talking about, the aim being to bring maximum value to you, that is our audience. So imagine with this, if you will, a bustling metropolis where the streets are lined up with towering skyscrapers, each representing a facet of our digital world. In this cityscape, AI stands as the architect, I would say, reshaping the landscape of innovation and possibility. Yet, as we marvel at the structures already that have been, executed, we cannot help but wonder: are we merely gazing at the foundations, or have we truly begun to scale the heights of AI potential? So I was just trying to do, think through, and I love, constructing stories around a topic. So to set the stage, I wouldn't take much time, probably the next 90 seconds. I would aim on, saying out a few things, because then I'll hand it over to the panel members for, for a discussion. So I'll share a little bit of more, say, an anecdote. So if I told my late grandfather, today that, Dadu, that we don't need to go to the taxi station to book a taxi, or, you don't need to go to the physical store to buy groceries, he would have thought I've lost it. And I keep on telling this, I'm very close to my late grandfather. So I also find it most imperative to state that I still value the vintage and analog items. Considering I've been in the digital age, I still value them, probably because I've experienced them, such as an HMT analog watch. I don't know how many people have got an opportunity to, use that kind of a watch. I have, thankfully. Those days, the closest I recall to anything like, on the technology front would be a quartz watch. People who are digital immigrants would understand the importance of a quartz watch. Like my dadu used to say, there's this quartz watch. If you do well in your exams, I'm going to give you a quartz watch. And I was like, wow, what is a quartz watch? And it was an automatic watch, normal, And those point of times, the quartz watch, the ambassador car, were all automation and luxury. Those were about those days. And today, luxury and technology starts with our thumbs, right? We click and magic happens. So in the early days of computing, I don't know how many people will remember, there was this humble chess playing program known as ELIZA, or Elizabeth would have been the full name, I recall. While rudimentary by today's standards, ELIZA sparked curiosity and excitement as it engaged users in stimulated conversation. So people marveled at their ability to mimic, let me say, human interaction. So yet, they also pondered the broader implications of such technology. When we fast forward to the present day, at least I can speak for myself. I am, finding ourselves in the midst of a digital revolution propelled by AI. Not that AI is something very new; it has been there for a while globally. It's just that some tools, open AI that have engulfed is, propelling the whole conversations and usage, and giving more independence and freedom to actually how to leverage that rightfully and ethically as well. So from virtual assistants guiding us, to personal recommendations, AI has permeated nearly everything in our lives. Just that we are realizing it perhaps a little bit late, that the impact that has been there for a while now. So as we navigate this landscape, it is also crucial to reflect on ethical implications of AI's omnipresence. Let me put it that way. I love this word because it is omnipresent. So imagine a scenario where AI-driven surveillance systems monitor city streets, promising enhanced security, however, also raising concerns about privacy and civil liberties. So the debate rages on, right? How do we balance the benefits of AI with the need to safeguard individual rights and freedom? Right. So as we gather here today, let us embrace the spirit of inquiry and exploration. That's the spirit of the discussion today. And I'm speaking on behalf of my panel members. And allow me to ignite this discussion by posing my first question to my dear friend Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, hi.
Hi, Ankur. Glad for having me in the panel. Yes, Ankur.
So, Sudhanshu, considering your extensive experience with Alcobev and in the marketing fraternity, it will be good to hear your perspective on, we all know the topic that we are talking about. What would be your, let me pose question by question and break it down for the ease of our audience and for the ease of you to answer as well. But if you want to add something in the answer, please feel free.
Sure.
One is, what would be your top 2 to 3, not more, maybe between top 2 and 3 observations around the evolution of AI in the past 1.5 years? And it'll be great to hear a success story also from you, and how did that happen?
No, so look, we all know the advent of AI in India, and I think from global standards, we are taking those baby steps, as I would say, in marketing. I would still call it experimentative, because while as marketers we are doing campaigns, I do see a lack of novelty. So there has to be innovation, there has to be an interesting form factor, which I think needs to be filled in. But having said that, I do feel that in today's day and age, AI for me personally would still be the Dolby surround sound to a movie. It will never be the movie. A movie will always be the creative art, the amalgamation of the left and the right brain, human intervention, human thinking. I think that would make the art. But I do feel that art can be ignited, art can be elevated with the Dolby surround sound to a movie, which is AI. Frankly, we have done campaigns, we have taken those steps, and just to highlight, the World Cup happened, and we realized that World Cup is one of the biggest event for us as a brand. We need to kind of capitalize on the event, ICC World Cup 2023, and there was one of the brand which wanted to live it large, which is Royal Stag, and a brand which believes in living it large. We realized that while the brand has talked about democratizing success over the years with make it large, etc., we thought, let's take a step up with live it large, and then let's make people a part of the story. So AI helped us to kind of navigate those, and kind of, rather than making a reach builder, it was a one-to-one personalized builder, so people could be a part of the story. When I say story, it was a story of Bumrah's success, Rohit Sharma's success, and for that matter, Surya Kumar. So how are people a part of that story? They have made it large. It's time for us to also live it large and kind of be a part of the billion dreams. Unfortunately, India couldn't win, but that's a separate story. But we made more than 50,000 people a part of the story, and we felt that that's interesting. However, when we were building on this AI, we were very clear that this is going to be living it large through the medium of technology, and we should not shy away from it, because when you're going all out, you better go all out, right? And we made sure, because there was a brand philosophy which already existed, and we kind of hyperplayed it with AI. So that's something which I thought was a proud body of work by the entire team. However, I do feel that AI in marketing, as I told you, is slightly limited. And again, we are looking at inspiration internally, externally as well. And while we do realize the challenges, when I say challenges, I call it as a IDE, which is intellectual properties, over dependencies, and E is the ethical ways of working. I think those are the three areas we need to be really careful of when we think of AI, because it's very easy to be over dependent. It's very easy to cross that line of ethical behaviors, and it's very easy to kind of do a cross check on the intellectual property rights bit. So I think those notions needs to be taken very. We need to be cognizant of those areas. However, I do see AI as a great potential, not just in marketing but across functions. And I'm sure other panelists would kind of jump in as well. But yes, I would definitely call it as a Dolby surround sound to a movie. That's how I would label AI as.
I love your expression, Satanshu. Absolutely, I echo. I think more to do with more than marketing. It needs to evolve as a cross-functional role, and because the idea of siloed working does not help. I mean, if we just use one tool for a particular purpose, we should also see how optimally it can be used across functions to seamlessly merge functionalities together. So, Satanshu, allow me just about some time to bounce back to you.
Sure.
Balaji, you have a rich experience in marketing and advertising in this domain and a bunch of stuff, considering you've worked also extensively with BFSI category. Here is a question for you. I'm sure the audience would love to know that also you guys piloted an interesting case of using AI to solve a problem. If you could share some, and of course, we have discussed that, but for our audience, if you could share some insights around the same, and I would love to request our organizer, somebody to on our queue to play that video whenever Balaji gives a go ahead. Balaji, all yours.
Sure. So, hi everyone, and Kurt, thank you for putting this moderation on this panel and starting off this conversation in a really interesting manner. I just wanted to probably take one step back and say that what is AI, right? I think to best define it, and I tend to have a little bit of a comic bone in my own humor style. So I think AI is like that comedian, who tells all the best jokes, but doesn't even understand they're funny. So that's actually how you would be able to, in the crux of one sentence, be able to actually define AI. And as long as we as individuals, firms, whether it's agencies, brands, etc., can recognize and understand that difference, I think that's where we can actually leverage whatever AI tools, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in business, whether it's across domains. That's when that power can be actually utilized in that manner. Don't think that they understand what they do, but you can try and make sure that what they will do will probably be the best if you guide them. So taking that as a base, I'd like to share an interesting example. As part of my job, I also work very closely with the EMEA region. So that's Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And it's a large region, number of countries in it. And I think like what we face within India, I think one of the biggest challenges in EMEA is the multiple languages, right? And unfortunately, while we can say something to a resemblance, like either Hindi or English works across most places, English, especially in South also, but in EMEA, English is never the common language. So whether German, Italy, French, everyone has their own common languages which they speak within that country. So the other challenge which we face is that, we work with we are an asset manager. We have a lot of timely communications which needs to go out to relevant topics and themes by our fund managers, on our products, on what's happening in the market, etc. Right? So imagine that you needed to send out something at the same time you have multiple languages. Your core content is created in English. Therefore, you typically have a very long cycle for content. First translate, then recreate, then reapproval, then take into market. In some places, we don't like the guy because what he's saying on screen is different from what's the actual content, because obviously the lip syncs don't happen. So then you recreate videos completely reshooting the same content. So it's a long process and you actually lose time to market, which you can't afford to do. So we were trying to figure out a solution as a marketing team on what we could do. And actually we did a very interesting thing. We used an AI tool called HeyGen, it allows us to synthesize voice and instantly translate videos into multiple languages. Using that technology, we released our first AI generated video. We took our tech fund. We had a portfolio manager who runs the US Technology Fund globally. It's one of our top funds, actually. And we had him put a small teaser video, which we'll show you shortly, where he spoke about this technology being used across multiple languages within that one video. And at the same time, we took his bigger video, which had the commentary or the overview or the perspective on the market, and converted it in 7 different languages, including English, so 6 different other languages, and took it in time to market in a very, very short time. So we promoted this on social, we sent out emailers, we communicated with clients about this, and they loved it. So this was a great example of how we made use of AI to share our content with clients in an engaging, disrupting, and most importantly, personalized manner, right? At the end of the day, the use of AI is to see how you can personalize. So it goes back to the same Shah Rukh Khan ad who did for Cadbury's, where every retailer got their own version on a Diwali greeting. Right? So it's as personalized as you could get. For us, we're an asset manager. For us, our first stage of personalization was more about having a language ready. And especially in a region like EMEA, where you want to communicate on time and you want to communicate in multiple languages. So with that in mind, if you could play the video, that would be great. I just want to add one more thing after the video before we pass on to the next one. But
absolutely. Soumya or anybody can help play this quick 50 seconds video.
We are very excited about artificial intelligence and believe that investors are still in the early days of understanding what is coming. In fact, we are using the technology in this video to convert my spoken word from English into this language.
En fait, dans cette vidéo, nous utilisons la technologie pour traduire mes propos de l'anglais vers cette langue. Tatsächlich nutzen wir die Technologie in diesem Video, das von mir Gesagte aus dem Englischen in diese Sprache umzuwandeln. In effetti, in questo video stiamo utilizzando la tecnologia per trasformare ciò che dico dall'inglese in questa lingua.
This is just one of the many applications of generative AI.
So thank you for sharing the video. I just want to point a couple of things out very quickly. What's different from the typical videos you would see which are non-AI used is the fact that the lip movement will not sync with what he's speaking. So if you see here, it's not that Jonathan speaks all those languages, it's just that the tool was able to help us even make the lip sync. And then it becomes very natural. It becomes very, impactful, because that's something I've always seen when I watch it, say, English movie in another language or a Italian movie in English language, and I see something being spoken and something, the lips are moving, it's a big disconnect. The second thing I want to point out, and that's important, which I want to also put about in the ethics of whole AI advertising, our first slide clearly says that we've used some tools, generative AI tools, to create this content. And I think as a responsible advertiser or a marketer or a brand, we have to be very clear that anything which we do, we have to openly make sure that that comes out upfront. So these are the couple of points which I wanted to make, Ankur.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Balaji. This is such interesting as an example. With this, I'm bouncing back to Shitangshu on a quick question about experimentation. Shitangshu, what has been your experience in getting budgets for experimentation? What kind of experiments do you do? Small, big? How does it yield? How? Maybe you can say something about what do you feel about how difficult or easy it is to get marketing budgets for experimentation as well. Something around those lines, if you can share some of your perspectives and thoughts.
No, so I think it's tough, frankly. We do park 12 to 20% of the budget. We push for it because we do realize that that's the medium, that's the format, that's the form factor which really works. And it's as simple as that. If the consumer loves it, we need to be present where the consumer loves it, right? On specific platforms, in specific language, in specific mediums. When I say 20%, we also park it for specific brands depending on their life stage, right? So a newer brand launch, does it make sense to use AI, or a brand already existing? Can you hyperplay on it? So it depends. Is it a digital first brand? Is it a digital add-on brand? So there are multiple caveats to it. However, if you ask me, 20-20% is what we look at. Also, this is not specific to AI. When I say 12 to 20% of the budget, this we call it as an experimentative budget. Now, this is parked towards, say, an NFT, towards a metaverse, towards blockchain. Some of them we know that were a disaster, right? So I'm not talking about those topics, but we do park certain amount of money. We play on this at a pilot level, and when we do feel that that's the space in which that's working well for us at a pilot level or at a regional level, then we kind of hyperplay it. So I think that's how it works, Andrew.
Wonderful. Great. Awesome. Shubho, are you in a comfortable position to?
Yeah, absolutely. I just finished
wonderful.
the conference at Taj that was also I was talking on AI and marketing. So I just finished.
Oh, wonderful.
That, just hopped into Uber and now I'm moving.
Wonderful. I was seeing you were traveling, so great.
I can talk, no problem.
Wonderful. I'll just kickstart bouncing off this question to you, Shubho. You've been doing a lot of conversations, training sessions, a lot of consulting. You've been involved closely with,
yes,
say the C-suite fraternity and the student fraternity as well. So it would be wonderful to hear your perspective on few things. One is adoption of AI. If we bifurcate into, say, digitally poor, digitally ignorant, digitally rich, how are you seeing the younger generation evolve? And also, if you could, within that, share your top 1 or 2 key challenges you see C-suite leaders finding, or your observations on that, it would be great.
Understood.
And let me know if you want me to repeat anything.
No, perfectly. I got it. In fact, almost same. I was trying to experience. See, let me. This is for. Let me start from a context that like Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Kolkata is not India from marketing perspective, right? So consumer, so it's called Bharat and Mehi Bharat, and there are a lot of Bharat within Bharat. We know that, right? Similar thing is happening. What I see here on the AI ecosystem. Now, when I'm talking about the first movers or early adopters like Levers of the World, Cadbury doing individual customized film on the Valentine's Day with film stars, film Zoya I think is making the film where you can make your own film, customize your own film if you buy a Cadbury chocolate. Now that type of adoption will happen at a very early stage to all the MNCs and the Hindustan levers of the world. But if you break the India into, which I keep on saying, I break India into 3 parts, which is the triangle. The top, the 1% of the top is the digital rich brands, companies, organizations, people who are much adaptive, who are early adopters to AI. Now those are the companies which are very few, maybe the first 500 companies in India who are eagerly using or pushing agencies or pushing people to hire AI people, AI related people in the ecosystem. That is one part. But as I said, that 1% should not be considered as India. Now, if I give you what is India, the belly part and the lower part is in what India is, what I want to talk about. 2023, last year, if you Google search, you'll find there are 69 million SMEs in this country. 69 million SMEs. These are the companies who contribute 60% of the Indian GDP. Now my question is that, or what I see around me, these people are 500 years backward in terms of AI. These people don't have a single data or forget about ChatGPT. The CEO must have not even heard of the name of ChatGPT. So for them, ChatGPT came, imagine 7 months or 8 months. I was, if I tell you, I was using content. There's no human being in my company for the last 2 years. Far ahead of AI was been there for many, many years. Now ChatGPT popularized the advent or the smell or the scent of new AI, right? Now these 69 million people in this country they don't have even a marketing manager also. Forget about the AI. Their salesperson come, logistic come, HR come, marketing come, CMO this is what I see. So India, which will be, what I see here is that, and that is the reason what we are talking in conferences or in different forums, in India per se is far behind the adoption or automation. Forget about AI. They don't have a proper email marketing system, right? Most of them are using Gmail. I'm talking about that level. They don't have a company email also. So AI is far ahead. So for them, they're in a dreamland. They will never. And if you see the Cisco's CEO talking about this, 40% of the business for the next 5 years will shut down. 40% of business will shut down. What will happen? Customers and users are much more ahead than the company. They are moving faster, speed, and they are the one who are pushing companies to adopt AI. Now, AI, when I see in terms of the college, if I now talk about the ecosystem, which are industry people, but I'm not talking about the top 500 companies. I've been consulting around 150 consulting, across all pharma, agriculture, e-commerce, whatever consulting, hundreds of different 11 or 12 categories I've managed. I see the same problem. Marketing heads only use ChatGPT to write random content, and that is the level of AI understanding and literacy. So most of them are handicapped. They are all challenged. They are mostly not even willing to learn. That's the sad part. ChatGPT, there are hundreds of courses available on ChatGPT and AI. With 99 rupees or 200 rupees, you can learn. But still, they are using Excel sheet.
I'll interject you for a while, Shubho. I'll interject you for when you say this interesting insight that they are not willing to learn. Where do you think this is coming from? I mean, what is your observation? This is very interesting. Why is that inclination not there?
They don't want to learn because most people, 99% of the people are lazy. They have a 1 lakh rupees iPhone, but they only know 4 features of iPhone. I have seen CXOs and CEO can't even send me. When I tell them, boss, can you send me a map? I'm reaching out, I'm driving. They send me a live location. So such idiots or CXOs, I have to use the word idiot because absolutely so idiotic. You're middle of a traffic looking to go destination, and that stupid guy sending you a live location, don't understand in what they're using WhatsApp and a 1.5 lakh rupees phone or iPhone 15, 16. They must have about 18 also. Bloody not even published, introduced so far. Those idiots are running the show. Those idiots are, so that the problem is the CXOs of the, not the 500 companies. Please remind me. So most of us here are talking, we are all among those, the crucial cream part of it. We have all worked in the multinational. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about India, that 69 or 70 million companies. I'm talking about them. This company CXO drives a BMW and have an iPhone 16, 17, 18, whatever, right? But these people don't hire a proper marketing head also. They don't have a marketing department also. There's a receptionist I've seen. You will.
I think
that was not a very good thing to do just because he called some people idiots. No, just joking about it. If I may just say something here, I mean, please. I can agree Shubho was in great form over there, and I always believe that there's nothing more probably dangerous than
he was real. He was absolutely real.
Yeah,
he was in his elements.
Because bongs can be the most passionate. I'm married to one. I've stayed there most of my life, so ask me about it. So the passion really comes out of me. But I think he's right, and I just want to close this before you move on to the next one, perhaps, is that there is no incentive for that marketing person to go out and upskill himself or herself. There is no, we have to figure out, and he's right. It's the SMEs, it's the smaller segment. It's not the guy who's working in the Cadbury's, who's working in Coke, who's working in Dabur, who's working on the bigger brand. There is no additional incentive. He knows that irrespective of what he learns, as long as he's in that environment or that ecosystem, that's where he's going to continue to stay. And therefore, and this is not just to do with AI. This is an ability of someone in life to upskill themselves. And this is a challenge which I've seen a lot of times, like what Shubho was saying, I also consult.
But that comes from within, Balaji. Yeah, that comes from within. I mean, correct. We studied everything hard way, right?
Yeah. So Balaji, I'll add one thing. I'll add one thing. I remember, and that's a hand on the heart. You know how I loved, how I kind of started driving. My elder brother had a car. He left for Vancouver, Canada. I got the car, fortunate enough. but I was one of those who didn't know how to drive. I learned driving through YouTube.
Oh wow.
मैंने YouTube पे ड्राइविंग सीखी है. So I think वो सीखने की चाहत और जब वो जिद होती है, I think absolutely. I think you cannot teach someone to learn AI. I think the curiosity factor is always there. If you don't learn today, tomorrow you are going to be irreplaceable as human, right?
So I agree with
not because the AI is going to take over, but someone more skilled is going to take your job. It's as simple as that. So
it boils down to whether you want
Absolutely.
to be relevant or not. Relevance is key, and that being relevant is the most important thing as far as we as marketers is concerned. But right now what is happening is people are not even thinking 2 years down the line. They are just thinking, okay, 6 months down the line, okay, we'll see, we will just wing it. And I mean, that is the reason why we are seeing, as far from an adoption perspective, we are seeing the kind of gap which is there. I mean, it is the supply is here and the demand is there. So I mean, and that's just going to increase in the future. That's not going to come down.
But loving this conversation. I mean, whenever I think his charge got probably disconnected or something may have happened. Rituraj, you've been waiting for a while, and you have had an interesting career, with real estate, and you're doing your consultancy as well. There's lots to, I'm sure the audience can gain from your insights. And here is my question to you. Your observations around what kind of applications or innovations have been happening in the real estate category, be it supply chain construction or any other insight. I think if you can specifically speak about this piece before I'll jump back to you with another question after this. But I think we would love to hear about it.
Sure, absolutely. So here are a few data points that I just want to put out there while we start. So we are talking about growth in real estate industry. So there's one intelligence report called Mordor Intelligence Report, and it states that the value of India's real estate industry expected to be around $265 billion in 2023. We have already past 2023. We are still waiting for official numbers, but that's what the unofficial number looks like. And it is projected to soar and grow to $828 billion by 2028. Now, which basically means a CAGR of around 25.6%. Okay. Now, if you're looking to do this, what are we talking? Okay. And what I did was, in the light of this, I did a few basic things on my own. I went on Google Trends, and for the last 2 years, I saw that searches of buy 2 BHK or rent 2 BHK, what is more? Rent 2 BHK is more. It is 25 times more than what a buy 2 BHK is, and the overall trend line is actually going down. So it very clearly means that no matter what people are saying in the industry also, there are hard facts in front of us which basically say that the trend is going down. People are not going to buy anymore. So that is one. And apart from that, I also looked at buy furniture versus rent furniture. And rent furniture is actually more than what buy furniture is. Overall, obviously, the trend line is going down. But the point is that the rent part of things is actually holding on. The buy part of things is not holding on. Okay. So that is one insight, just to put it out there for anyone who is talking about growth. So X, 3X, 4X, 5X growth in real estate industry, but where exactly things are going. So it will be interesting to see what happens. But I'll come to what kind of innovation which your real estate can look at, and real estate has tried quite a few things. See, first is what I would suggest is, if you look at from a due diligence and contract or drafting perspective, you can actually streamline operations, all right, and drive cost efficiency. That is one part of thing, because what AI does is basically takes care of the redundant part of things, right? So real estate industry will look at that kind of segment. If they are not looking at, then I think they will be compelled to look at. Second is, if you remember augmented reality, virtual reality, we kept on talking about, and there were some campaigns which happened, but it was just wish list kind of campaigns. Okay, there was no hardcore seriousness in that. But if you look at from augmented reality, virtual reality perspective, what happens, it actually helps you in optimizing space. You don't need that big a sales office. You can have a smaller, very nice, cozy sales office and just give a virtual reality, augmented reality experience to the customer. Okay, so that is the second part. So in Shobha, we did one experiment was Facebook had come up with one beta product that you can run augmented reality ad. So basically, what you do is you take a 360-degree video, then you give it to Facebook and their affiliated partners. They will crunch it in such a manner that it fits into a 2 MB filter, and then you run it
Okay.
as an ad. You run it as an ad. So whenever anyone is clicking on it, basically what happens is instead of seeing an image, they see that 360-degree, and while you are actually sitting and on the phone, you are there. And if you move, what happens is it moves you in that environment. So
Right.
basically the
Right.
house is behind you, and you can select kitchen,
Right.
living room, bedroom, and all of that. We did that because it was a whitelisted product, and the results were phenomenal. I don't know what happened after that. After 3-4 months, I actually followed up with Meta and asked him what has happened to that product. I want to actually use it for lead gen now, because I used it in awareness, and on top of it I ran remarketing for lead gen. But I want to use that format in lead gen. So they said that we did not get that much amount of traction from other developers, and I said, okay, fair enough. Maybe other developers don't want to do it. I want to do it. They said, okay, let us let us come back to it. I think it's still in their product pipeline. How when it will come out, God only knows. But that was a very brilliant product actually. But if you look at one more tech innovation in construction, it is mainly 3D printing. Okay, now in
Yeah.
3D printing, I would like to give an example of a company called Twasta Manufacturing Solutions. It is an IIT Madras founded startup, and what it does is basically the approach gets innovated, and it aims to produce 30 to 50 houses per day. Okay, and all these houses are made through sustainable practices. So basically, your carbon emission is as close as zero. So that is something which we are going to see a lot of traction going to happen in the coming 2-3 years time, because it is said that the computing power doubles every 2 years. Okay, so if you look at the law of compounding, whatever we are at 100, after 2 years we'll be 200, after another 2 years we'll be at 400. I mean, imagine the kind of computing power right now. Also, what we are sitting on, it is gigantic. Okay, and that is going to double in the next 2 years. It's just going to make tech very interesting. So yeah, I mean that's
Wonderful. This is good to know, Rituraj. Just a time check. We are at 17:03, so we'll have about 20 more minutes. I need to bounce back to Shubho, but before Shubho, Shubho is in like full mood. The flow got broken, but I'm sure Shubho can pick it up anytime. I just have one question in the meanwhile for Balaji, and then I'll bounce off to Shubho, and then again Rituraj and Satanshu. Balaji, how do you see the investment processes since you have in this segment leveraging AI in decision making, say predictions, predicting trends? What do you observe as one or two of the core advantages of the same as well? I mean, in terms of investments, how do you think is anybody leveraging as? I mean, how important is it for a CFO to use, say, AI? I mean, let me put it in context.
Okay, so let me put it this way. I don't think it's CFO. It's more towards to do with the CIOs and the investment teams, with the research analysts, etc., who are actually looking at how to leverage the power of AI into more structured investment processes and decision makings. It does not mean that the fund manager does not have a job anymore, or the research analyst does not have a job anymore. Again, go back to what I said before. It is the ability of AI to facilitate easier decision making / if they could do something computing within say 3 hours before, it now takes maybe 30 minutes. So it's obviously helped decision making and investment process become a little more holier, if I would way to say it that way, because it's following a more streamlined process. If I were to take a couple of examples, not just within the investment part of the team, but also within the other departments that we are currently working in, we actually have a few tools which we use. So obviously, I mentioned HeyGen, which is there. In addition to that, even at an enterprise level, some of the other tools I like to talk about is one which is specifically being used for copywriting and being tested in our US markets currently. When I say copywriting, it's because as a firm, you're obviously writing a lot of reports, you're writing a lot of themes, you're writing a lot of thought leadership papers. So we use a AI tool called Writer. It's an integrated platform for enterprise generated AI actually, and it's being tested currently in the US. We're finding that the writing is actually pretty close to what we're expecting. So it's not going to say that my fund manager or my analyst cannot write anymore and he's out of a job. It's just going to make his job easier. When you use AI or when you use these sort of tools to try and make your decision easier, it just gives you more opportunities to go out there and do more of your core thing. So that's one. The other thing which we're doing also at a marketing level, it's something which we use, when we spoke about translations as being one of the challenges. Imagine we have offices where we serve clients in across 150 countries in the world. So sometimes it just gets difficult, right, to look at so many languages. So we use something called DeepL, D-E-E-P-L. It's a deep translator. It's actually a neural machine translation service. It was launched in August 2017 only, so it's relatively new, but it offers today translations in 30 languages. Now, what's the advantage over, say, a simple Google Translate, DeepL is actually machine learning. So what it does is it learns from the mistakes, the corrections, it embeds them. So for example, if I had a paragraph to convert, Google Translate will convert that same paragraph every time, correct? And give me probably different options. And if I were to hypothetically pay Google Translate or pay someone external who's doing it, the paragraph is treated as a fresh para. But if I go to something like DeepL, it actually only needs to look at converting those which are already not saved in the machine. So actually, if you do a pay per piece model, you need to only pay for new languages, new translations. It captures all corrections. It understands the fact that how an investment writer is structuring the thought process, and it actually starts developing things accordingly. So this is how we're doing it. And I must say one thing which I have started using very recently within the company. I'm one of the early users, in fact. It's something called Microsoft Copilot. I don't know how many of you have used it or are trying to use it, but it's an absolutely fabulous tool. It has a long way to go, but it's Microsoft take on AI. Incidentally, if some of you know, they just spent $14 million.
Yes.
That's a 1-minute ad on the Super Bowl on the Copilot.
Yes.
Talking about being an AI company for the future. Yes. So very interesting options to leverage AI into daily work. For example, I can, I have these lovely colleagues who I don't want to name, but they write very long emails. And then there are emails after emails. I can just go and quickly press a button which says summarize mail. It's doing it very fairly accurately. It gives me like a 2-paragraph instead of a 10-paragraph to read. Then it helps me create action points from meetings. It can record my transcripts if I ask it to through Microsoft Teams. And it also is able to draft replies to emails or draft emails for me in certain formats. So it's not, what I want to say is that, I know Ashubha said that a lot of people are not using it. A lot of people don't know what AI is. But at times there are some things like this Microsoft, Copilot, which is going to get rolled out anyway with Outlook to everyone over time with obviously some cost and all. Then that is what is easy access to AI. And that's your first stepping point to say, oh, this is making jobs or life easier for me. What other tools could possibly there which could make life easier for me more?
Minutes of meeting converting to to-dos and then follow up in the next meeting.
Oh yeah,
actually,
super.
I was just saying, Balaji, first of all, this is super interesting. I just realized हम लोग अगर बात करने लग जाएं वो 5-6 घंटे कैसे बीत जाएंगे पता भी नहीं लगेगा. I have to thank you so much, Balaji, for sharing. I have to bounce back to Shubho, considering we are on the edge of the time. I have to let Shubho complete. Shubho's questions was clear. Shubho, let me know if you need me to repeat something.
Okay. No, I totally remember. I don't know. Suddenly it got dropped out. I don't know what. So coming back to these things, what Balaji said is absolutely right. So there will be few people. So what I see in the next 6 months or 1 year, there's going to be a huge digital AI divide, which means there will be super rich people. When I say knowledge, not rich in terms of money, super rich people who are using AI copy. In fact, I use Balaji Copymatic and Copy AI for the last 2 years, and that's the reason I could remove my entire copy content team from there. Another thing I can see what is happening right now is AI versus AI. Actually, you don't need Copymatic, Copy AI, or Zapier. You can use ChatGPT without paying anything 1,600 rupees. If you really know 4 or 5 setup of using prompting. There are 4 or 5 setup. I must tell you, all of you can try. Something is called RIAC. R stands for role. Some is called BAC, which is after and before bridge. Something is called TAF, which is the task, role, and the F is format. There are 6 or 7 parameters by which you can do the framework of prompting. If you know this framework of prompting, you can kill any AI software. I mean, you can make them work better than. So what is happening is that what I see, coming back to the most important part, what I see, it is right now, 2 days back, I was hearing Narendra Modi talking live on Hindi, but it is getting, in Telangana and South India and other 20 languages at the same time. Bhasha is what been launched by India. Narendra Modi was giving a lecture a few days back, I saw. So what is happening? India is trying its level best, but the problem is the school level, school, college. 70 colleges have gone so far. Not a single school or college is actually teaching AI or even promoting or helping people to learn AI. So that is what I see here. Industry is looking for people who are smarter, but our industry backbone, which is the cool school, college, they are professors. You will get a shock. When I was creating, I should now tell you because it's not getting recorded, I guess, I should not. In fact, you may post it, then someone will call me. So one of the biggest college, MBA within MBA, there was a digital course. So within the course, I see there are a lot of social science has been plugged in. So I said, social science, why did you put social science in social media? They said, no, they're a group of people, professor. One professor says social science and social media is same because they're both social. I said, I
my
think,
God.
Yes.
Ginger garlic, same.
Yes.
Oh
Another
my
thing.
God.
Top business school, I can't even name because I go there every year. The head of digital person who was talking is a professor there. After 2 minutes, I could figure out that idiot knows nothing. Then I said, who are you? I mean, what was your role? You will believe me. The reason I'm angry and I'm shocked and I hate. That person is an IT guy, and someone said IT is digital. You start teaching digital, and he's in the top B school. Now, don't you think will I not get angry when I see such idiotic people doing idiotic things? So one good thing is going to happen. The smarter people will go far ahead, and I see the idiots or people who are laggards, who are lazy, who don't want. But when it comes to SMEs, they are not poor. They are thriving right now. When are they going to buy the iPhone 16 or 17? They're waiting. They're calling the agent. Boss, 17 million se 2 piece mujhe zarur bhej dena. But that guy will not encourage 1,600 rupees ChatGPT to a younger kid in the marketing to learn, to teach, to use. So that, and they're happy with Excel sheet. So this is the issue anyway. So there's a digital divide is what I see here. So I was a little angry and sorry for my words.
No, Shubhu, absolutely fine. I think I believe it is important for all of us to stay real and state out our thoughts. Absolutely okay. I think we also learn a lot, and it's important for us to share our beliefs and thoughts and our experiences. I think this has been a real discussion. Okay, Rituraj, here is a challenge for you. We have committed that I'll play that slide for you about to the organizers, Saumil, we'll take. I'm requesting Rituraj to take 2 minutes, 120 seconds to be precise, to share his observations on audience calibration, attribution evolving in AI with a forward-looking approach. If we can put up this, oh wow, wonderful, wow, super proactive.
So very quickly, I'll
2 minutes, yeah, and then we'll open up the floor for an interesting question that I have for everyone, and before closing, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So very quickly, I mean, if you look at the overall, graph of how, AI is going to mature, first is going to be obviously simpler tasks. You have text-based, you have, certain, aspects which is at a image level, take care of from an accuracy perspective. Then it will move to a little complex task, which is mainly image and video. And by 2030 it will mature completely. So then we are talking about games and movies being personalized. So just to give you a perspective, we saw that how Wes Anderson created the Star Wars film, and it got really good traction. Now if it can do that, then it can do a lot of other things. And also now what is happening is AI is able to create images which has emotions, is able to create movement which basically can be seen on on the faces. So if it can do that, it can do a lot of other things. But what I want to actually touch upon in quick 20 seconds is that how marketers should be able to use AI for their own advantage is to actually hunt down the problems of invalid traffic, bot traffic, all of that which is coming in.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and all of that is actually related to all kind of click frauds which are happening, and that can be put a clamp on if marketers are little bit aware, and they are little bit knowledgeable, and they have that bend of mind to learn that, from where they will be able to identify more information which will help them in actually clamping down on invalid traffic and click frauds. But that's as far as the summary is concerned. The only thing which I want to say is simplify and progress is the mantra to move forward. Because what is important for you and your KPIs is going to actually decide what kind of tech in AI you would want to use. And just the way Shubhoda and Balaji stated very clearly, that there are technologies available, but the divide is huge. And for that divide to come down, the demand side, basically the resources which are in the schools and colleges, they really need to actually learn better, and they need to actually get industry people to teach them, which is not happening right now.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful. So we have about 4 more minutes, and this is the final question of the evening. I'm hoping the audience would have taken screenshots of the slide and our beautiful faces as well. So yeah, with this, opening up for the final question is: has AI seeming to be changing the working relationships of brands and agencies? We can, like, this question is, it'll take a lot of time, but I would, if we actually keep talking about it, it's an interesting one. But if I may request Balaji, Satanshu, Shubho, Ritu, anybody to just start off, starting with Balaji, take about a minute and wrap up your thought along with a mantra that you would want to suggest, mantra or a key takeaway for the audience, your perspective, that'll be it.
Sure. So I'll go first. Just FYI, beginning of the year, over 100,000 people, almost every employee of Publicis actually received a video message from the CEO thanking them personally by name and in the first language for their hard work. This was done through AI, right? Large agencies like Publicis and WPP, the two largest in the world, are spending hundreds of millions of dollars investing in AI because they know that's the future. They're trying to move away from being called advertising agencies to actually what tech is about. It's also because brands are spending a lot more on digital, and that's where the maximum use of AI is there. Coca-Cola CEO James Quincey said that they were spending 30% of their money on digital in 2019. Today, it's over 60% and growing. Why? AI actually helps automate aspects of media buying, planning on digital platforms, and it helps make many basic functions, what you call typically routine, boring, easy and fast. But the problem is, because these are getting faster, these are getting simpler, dependence on agencies are also getting a little lesser, potentially lowering fees or even removing the need completely. And because generative AI reduces the barrier for entry, it's just easier sometimes for clients to work in-house. I just want to give you one quick experience. We worked with a European agency, supposedly a great agency. Some of you would know about it. We gave them a brief. We had the tagline, the headline already ready and the product ready. All they had to do was see whether the headline worked well and give us some appropriate visuals to that. They spent around 2 weeks, came back with around 3 or 4 visuals, which were okay. I went into ChatGPT and I did a couple of other softwares like this, and I actually entered the same sort of brief what an agency would have given with those key lines. I got the exact same visuals. And that was a shocking thing for me. I sort of thought agencies are being lazy. So my take is, if they are going to be lazy, they're already at a risk. If they don't buck up on this, there is a chance that they can move away. And my last end quote, which I just want to say before I hand over to everyone else, I think that the only thing that's more dangerous than AI or artificial intelligence is, and I say this a lot, is natural stupidity. And it's what, like Shubha also said, right? Unfortunately, it's one thing we have abundance of everywhere, including in myself.
Filled with oxymorons.
So use AI with care. Don't get overexcited, which is what I started saying. Yet don't underestimate it. It can really take your life from point A to point B. Now, whether the point A goes to heaven or point A goes down, or as in a joke, marriage is like Jurassic Park. AI is also like a walk in a park. You don't know if it's Jurassic Park or not. That's it.
I like that.
I echo you, Balaji. Satanshu.
God, how do I match to what Balaji has said? But nevertheless, I'll keep it short. I think it's important to train as well. Right? Training is important. Simplification of data sets is important. I think in bigger organization, I think we do have budgets. We do. I'm honored to be a part of such organization, but I do feel, as even Shubho mentioned, that what about the smaller organization wherein there's a lot of faff, right? But the base is not there, right? So I do feel that as we move ahead, as the training etc. happens, simplicity comes into picture. I'm sure that there'll be a lot of adoption. But as even Balaji said, I do see a lot of challenges, but I think really interesting times. I think these times never existed 5 years back. I'm looking forward to what will happen in the next 2024 alone, because I'm sure digital is evolving so fast that if we don't learn, if we don't adapt, I'm thinking myself, right, that if we don't experiment, if we don't adapt, we will be replaceable. So I'm looking forward to this year, and hopefully it'll be some interesting campaigns coming from the house of Seagram and Pernod Ricard India as well. Yeah, that's my thought.
Wonderful. And your piece of closing, your key mantra or anything you want to share? Closing remark.
No, I would give it to Balaji, man. Beautiful line. That it's time
I would
to
give it
walk.
to Balaji as well.
It's time to walk in the park. You can define the park.
Awesome. Jitanshu, that's wonderful. Rituraj.
So very quickly, I'll say that being relevant is the most important thing in today's age and time. And what agencies need to really look at is that how they can make life easy in a multiplication manner for their clients. And see, the example which was given by Balaji very clearly, he had an idea about where to go and check. That was not possible 10 years back. Now it is possible, which is the biggest thing. And we as CMOs are not crazy people. If someone would have come to us and said that, we have done it through this, give us 2 more days, we will come back to you with a larger set of options, we would have said yes. But that's the main issue. And when he talks about stupidity, it is to think that the CMO is stupid and doesn't understand that where this work has come from. So they need to let go of that and then be real with the CMOs, work together. And to echo Shubhoda's point, those 69 million companies are going to be much more agile, and there will be companies during that segment who will have the hunger of learning. Okay. And whoever learns is going to actually take the cake away. It's as simple as that. And my mantra for today's conversation is clear, that simplify and progress is the mantra to move forward. If you're not going to simplify, you're just going to get caught in that vicious circle. Oh, AI has come, this has come, that has come, I should use this, I should use that. And there are 7,000 softwares that was Shubhoda mentioned last time as far as AI is concerned. And your MarTech stack is growing and growing and growing. But what is most important is what Balaji stated: practitioner. Be the practitioner of AI, and then you will know that you don't, just like what Shubhoda said, you don't need 3 or 4, you just need 1, and you know how to use it. You will be able to do your proper thing. So simplify and progress.
Perfect. Thanks, Rituraj. Wonderful. And closing remarks from Shubho on the same. If you want to, I know we have
one thing. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just take one liner. I think the easiest way to implement implement AI is, if you remember, I think all of us know, in America is the only country which has a sniper university. So they make sniper experts. So in sniper, there's not one person who shoot. There's one person who calculate, and there's one person who shoot.
Oh, wow, thanks for sharing that. I was not aware of this. Wow, wonderful.
So because it is a sniper, a good sniper generally shoots within 6 to 4 kilometers away. So by the time the Earth orbit is moving, the temperature will vary, the velocity, wind will vary. So you will not be able to do a headshot. The snipers are the one who do a headshot, not body shot. So to do that, you do mathematics and calculation also, how far you're going to shoot the bullet, and it goes, and because gravitational force will also sink it down. So you want to shoot it here, within 2 kilometers, it will actually shoot here, because the gravitational force will keep on sunking. So the idea is that for the same logic happens to AI. If you really want to implement AI in your company, hire one person who will keep on searching AI software, and there is one person who will keep on using it AI and share within the team. The better is this is the easiest one. So 30,000-40,000 rupees में एक बंदा मिल जाएगा who will able to, who is good in learning new thing, ये होगा. And next is who will use it. ये करने से then easy for any company to execute AI at a faster level, because you need a hunter and you need a farmer. So this guy will hunt the best of the AI, and this guy will keep on executing and figure out and giving a budget of even 5,000 rupees a month to execute, to experiment. 5,000 is enough, because $2-3, $15, $10 is the cost. With 2,000-3,000 rupees within over of 6 months time, you can easily figure out which AI you want to apply. I must tell you, since I don't know whether you know this, Accenture, I told you, right? Accenture has been hired 6 people in the team. So they are going all around the Accenture, and their job is to hunt people, spot people and replace them. And their job is just 36 months. Within 36 months, their job is to fire themselves. That's the project Accenture is doing it at present. And I know someone is doing it.
Yes.
So that's the thing. So only get 2 people and a 10,000 rupees budget every month. Let them experiment. Your company, you don't need so many people. So the department will be slowing down. You don't need so many marketing people. You don't need so many sales people. You don't need so many call centers. So it's going to shrink. The entire department and marketing is, because they need more profitability. So that's what the easiest way to implement is only 2 people and a 10,000 rupees budget. That's enough to adapt new technology and AI and English. In fact, I'm doing it for the last 2 years.
Wonderful.
So now
this is so good to hear.
Yeah, I replaced entire content marketing. Now I'm replacing entire SEO team. Off page, on page, submission, everything can be done by SEO. ChatGPT is there's SEO GPT. Is a software. It only cost you 2,800 rupees. It do 20 people's job with 1/3 of the time.
Therefore, it reduces considerably. Yes. This is wonderful. I feel that the anecdote that you shared about the sniper, I'm going to use it with your permission in certain talks. I feel this example is very relatable, specifically for the community. With that, thank you, Sitanshu. Thank you, Balaji. Thank you, Rituraj. Thank you to the organizers. Thank you, Soumya. You all are very lovely, wonderful, and kind people. You've allowed us more time than usual. And I enjoyed the discussion, and I'm hoping the audience and you all did as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the exciting conversation.
Thank you, guys.
See you.
Thanks a lot.
We are ready to move on to our next segment, which is our next panel discussion. And this topic is unlocking excellence, empowering middle managers. Leading this conversation, we have as the moderator Yashwant Bair, VP Group HR at Hexagon Nutrition Limited. Yashwant is an electronic engineer turned HR professional with 32 years plus experience in total. Yashwant has worked with Tata Group, Mahindra & Mahindra, Nagarjuna Fertilizers, and Hero Motocrop Groups, to name a few. He has handled corporate HR, business HR, HR COE, and plant HR roles all along. The interesting part is also that Yashwant is passionate about teaching and has been proudly associated as a visiting faculty in multiple institutes. Thank you so much and welcome to the panel, Yashwant.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Moving on to our first speaker on this panel, we have Ruby Buxi, Head Talent Engagement, L&D Initiatives, CSR, Culture Branding at Harbinger Group. Ruby comes with over 20 years of experience taking ownership of various human resource management functions. She has been instrumental in setting up the entire HR department end to end and worked closely with senior management in envisioning and leading organizational change initiatives. Ruby, welcome to the panel.
Thanks, Soumya. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Ruby. And moving on to our next speaker on this panel, Ravi Mishra, Global HR Head, Advanced Materials Business, a division of Grasim Industries Limited, Aditya Birla Group. Ravi holds an MSW from JK Institute of Social Sciences, Lucknow University, and an MBA from U21 Global Next, Singapore. His career highlights include adeptness in building teams, understanding business perspectives, and driving a culture of excellence through continuous improvement and innovation. Ravi actively shares his knowledge as a speaker at various HR forums and summits and has published articles and case studies in journals like HR City and Human Capital. Welcome to the panel, Ravi. I think you're on mute, Ravi.
Unmute, Ravi.
Yeah, thank you. Moving on to our next panelist, Atul Mathur, EVP HR and Head Learning and Development at Aditya Birla Capital. Atul comes with rich exposure of human resource practices in leadership roles. He has worked with business as well as HR functions in diverse industries like telecommunications, BPO, insurance, search consultancy, and media. He has vast experience in setting up and leading large national teams and is adept at conceptualizing and implementing large scale HR projects. Welcome to the panel, Atul.
Atul, you are mute now.
Unmute.
We cannot hear you. We see that you've unmuted. Atul, as you check your audio, we'll definitely go ahead and welcome our next panelist, who is Shravani Sengupta, HR advisor at apabanking.com. Shravani, a talent development specialist with 32 years of experience. She specializes in personal development, team building, leadership, and management. She comes with a background at Oracle Financial Services, Thomas Cook India, and CMS Group of companies. Welcome to the panel, Shravani.
Thank you. Thank you, Soumya. It's a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. And moving to our last panelist on this panel, Sapna Acharya, Head Talent Development at TCS. Sapna is a seasoned professional with an experience of 20 plus years in the HR space with specialization in talent transformation and talent development. She drives learning with passion, and in her current role, she is responsible for competency development and scaling of talent development strategy initiatives for the business unit. Welcome to the panel, Sapna.
Thank you so much, Soumya. A very good evening to all present here, and it's really an honor to be here.
Thank you so much. And over to you, Yashwant. I hope, Atul, you were able to get your audio up and running. We can't seem to hear you. Maybe it would be great if you could try joining back in the meanwhile as we start the session. Yashwant, over to you. I'll be here on standby, so if you need anything, we'll be there.
Sure. So, thank you, Soumya, and good evening to everyone. So, first of all, sincere thanks to Indian Business Council for giving us an opportunity, me along with my co-panelists, to share our views on the topic given to us, that is unlocking excellence and empowering the middle managers. Just to reconnect what has happened since the beginning of this event. So I think in her keynote address, Hetal brought about the importance of L&D in effective employee engagement and retention. Jagruti, who moderated the panel one, the panel delved upon the application of L&D in today's hybrid workplace. The panel before us, the most vibrant panel we could notice in a couple of minutes, was moderated by Ankur when they debated upon the use of technology in L&D and including artificial intelligence in the digital industry. So our panel is here to talk about the organizational backbone, that's the middle managers, who can make or mar the organization. And this is the talent pool from where the CEOs and CXOs emerge. So we will focus on how to unlock the potential by empowering and enabling them to bring out the organizational excellence. That's the theme. So with these words, I request all my co-panelists to begin with sharing their top of mind thoughts on the topic, the theme, which is unlocking excellence and empowering the middle managers. So let's start with Ruby.
Hey, good evening, everyone. And it's, as I mentioned earlier, a pleasure being here. Uh, the topic is very interesting and will also help us in bringing out different, uh, top practices that we have been following. I think any organization cannot function only with the leadership team. When we say, the backbone also matters. I think the middle managers here play a very, very crucial role. uh, how can they be given how they can be empowered, how can they be given more authority to display the mission, vision, values of the organization, is what leadership can see themselves doing best at. And I think I'm here today to talk about some of the best practices which Harbinger follows, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful discussion with all of you.
Thank you, Ruby, for kickstarting the theme. So let's move on to Ravi.
Yeah.
Your thoughts,
So
Ravi, top of mind thoughts.
Yeah. So I remember just one thought of mine was when long back I had been gifted a book, Tom Peters' Passion for Excellence, when we were out of the campus. So that excellence still lingers in my mind. And being a part of HR Frontier, this is one of the critical success factor for us to drive the excellence in the organization. And as Ruby was saying, that the critical part of the organization in execution of the excellence is the middle managers. So what happens like a sandwich where the critical challenge for the test is what is between the two breads, right? So in the organization, I have seen, because we have worked in the manufacturing and carpet and everywhere. So the middle managers is most, you can say, also stressed burden. On one side, he or she also takes the ownership to the junior management team. And at the same time, from higher ups, from the senior management team, he has been interested to build the results as per the strategy, because unless there is excellence, we are able to keep on seeing the how the organization being washed out over the last 2.5 decades. So excellence has become very important. Even Rickshaw will also understand what is the matter of excellence, how you can get the money from to the Paytm of the customer. So excellence is everywhere. Without excellence, it is not possible to survive and sustain for a long time. So that is the value proposition of the excellence in whatever way, in whatever level. So that's important. And middle managers, I understand, the most critical part of the success to bring the excellence in the organization.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. I think you really brought out very important point. As you rightly said, this is the middle level which has pressure from top as well as from bottom, because they are accountable, and both the accounts and for the lower level people under them, they are looked upon as the role models. At the same time, they have to meet the expectations of the top levels, and in the process, they have to also achieve their individual performance goals as well. So let's move on. How about what are your thoughts, Atul?
I think Atul is not audible.
Atul, so Soumya, can you help Atul basically? So Atul, I think you need to give some time for Soumya to get you connected, where we will be able to hear you. So, with your permission, we move on to Shraboni.
Hi, everyone over here. And I think it's in the end of the session. And I think it's a very interesting topic also. Uh, Over the last 32 years that I've been working and purely in the L&D space, I've always felt that, this middle set is the one who are the connectors. If we talk about, they connect both the ends. And one thing that I have observed, and I strongly believe that this set that we have play a very, very important and a very, very pivotal role in developing the culture. As a leader, as a person on top, we may have a leader may give certain thoughts, certain vision, but to get it down to to the ground level and get it executed, get the culture imbibed within the organization. I think the middle managers are the one who really drive it. So it's very, very crucial to ensure that this set of people are empowered, uh, enabled, and at the same time developed in the right space, because as you rightly said, they're the next CEOs of the organizations, and
Right.
this is the time where we are developing them, we are creating the you know if we call in our HR language, the pipeline for the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Sarvani. So, last but not the least, let's hear from Sapna. And by the time, we hope Atul will be back with us. Yeah.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Yashwant. And I totally resonate with all the panels here on their thoughts on middle managers being connectors. Um, I see them as anchors. Just to echo the same emotion, they are the anchors who, by virtue of their experience, they give a very stable environment to the organization in terms of being mentors to the fresh talent which comes in, and at the same time, following the vision of the leaders there, in terms of innovation, excellence. So when it comes to excellence, it's about not just excellence at a given point of time, but it is about consistency. And what is the true, a trait of these middle managers is they have been consistently with the organization, which is a very, it's a certain virtue which we need to respect, trust, and build on that. The other aspect is about the contextual knowledge. See, today the times are coming from an IT organization, very disruptive technologies, but while we are cross-skilling, upskilling on these technologies, what is more important parallelly is the contextual knowledge that they hold by virtue of their long-term association with the organization as well as with the client base. So that needs to be married with the fresh talent. They come with a lot of technology knowledge, but without a context to it, who will guide them to rightly engage, rightly apply. So that is where the middle managers play a very instrumental role, and it is very critical to empower this workforce of which forms a very critical element of the workforce backbone today. That is my thought on it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So, thank you, Sapna. So, if we just look at what all the points we have brought into basically, so I think while we are talking about the middle managers, the real way of bringing out excellence will be right from tapping them at the first level. I hope. Good to see Atul you back. So over to you, Atul. We'd like to hear you as well.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Absolutely. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, good that I found my voice on the subject finally. I've been trying for a long time. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, thanks for having me over. And I think it's been expressed by the other panelists also. But any organization could have the best of strategies, but if it is not implemented, in an impeccable fashion, and especially in today's environment where things are so very competitive, it is important that the middle management needs to be focused on, and they are the key to success in the marketplace, right? In fact, a lot of organizations, including mine, we are focusing big time on the effectiveness of the middle managers because they are the ones who are actually translating the strategy into action at the ground level, and therefore, very, very critical in today's, day and time.
Okay, thank you, Atul. So, having set the tone for the topic, this brings to me to a question comes to my mind as to why there is a need to unlock excellence in organizations today, and that too through the middle managers. So, I will go back to Ravi once again to hear his perspective on this particular question. Why to unlock the excellence in organization, and that too through middle managers?
Yeah. So there are two parts, Yashwant. One is that without excellence, you cannot survive, or maybe very short term you can survive, but you cannot sustain or thrive for a long term. And this is what we have seen historically. When I was a student, I was able to work the Oneida TV or Bush TV or so. There are many brands which were ruling the market are washed out. So excellence is a keyword, key mantra for any organization or institution to survive for a long term. So without excellence, because anybody is going to buy anything, he understand the value proposition. If somebody is, I've seen even the market people are checking the price, quality, specification, everything, and also the reviews. I mean excellence. So this is how I relate to the excellence, which is very very important. Now, what brings the excellence in the organization institution? So I remember that book by Ram Charan, Education. So what all our colleagues were sharing about the middle managers, which is a very crucial and critical for the execution. So you can bring the idea, you can bring the strategy, but at the end of the day, customer or stakeholders needs a return, and the return comes with the product which is placed before the customer, before the market. So who brings that product? I mean, so if you see at the service level, how the manager at restaurant or store or at the plant, the middle manager who is executing that product or idea services to come across. So the part one is the excellence. There is no option for that to survive for a long term. Seeing this global competition, global pricing, and global resource availability. Second, the middle manager is the crux of it to execute, and execution is the most difficult. I've seen there are many middle managers who used to go with lots of pressure across, or even we have seen in the COVID. Uh, there are many managers, middle manager, when there was COVID, people in the banks and other services were running away, and only these middle managers were able to sustain to serve the people and services. So, education is the most challenging thing, and that comes only with the middle managers. But also, I have seen the challenges. Many organizations, as per McKinsey study, out of 100, only 20% organization are really investing on the middle managers' capability building in change scenario, whether it is digital or digitalization or how to cope up with the stress and all the things. Middle manager is a crux, and I believe that excellence in any organization or any services or product, whatever segment you talk about, it is a middle manager that should be focused to unlock the excellence, because you can't do only with the strategy. Strategy can be outsourced, but the execution is the challenge.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi. I think if I look at what you have just shared, you brought out a couple of important points. One is the importance of education for these managers, middle managers, basically to groom them for the leadership roles, and then the customer perspective from the excellence point of view. I think that's also very important, because at the end of the day, excellence has to be perceived and appreciated and accepted by the customers, and then in which the middle managers have a major role to play. And then you also brought important data that very few organizations are really focusing on the development of middle managers, and that's the point our panel is trying to bring upon. So I would like to invite Shravani to share her perspective on this particular question. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's very interesting to see this, that how can excellence in an organization be driven by the help of middle managers. Now, interestingly, a middle manager is basically a set of people who are, having a set of people whom they are managing, and also a lot of focus on the task that is there in their hand, and they're trying to juggle around with the whole thing. And hence there are three four things that really come strongly. One is obviously, uh, how do I have execution excellence? How do I drive execution excellence? Number one. Number two becomes that as a middle manager, are they equipped to drive it? Do they understand it? Are they able to drive innovation? And at the same time, if they've been able to develop their team, who are going to ensure that this is going to take see the light of the day. I mean, there might be lovely innovations that is happening, but if it really has to see the light of the day, everyone in that whole line has to be aligned to it. So that is where I think the middle managers play a very, very crucial role. And I think if I have to bring in excellence, I will have to drive innovation, I will have to drive adaptability, I will have to drive execution excellence. And if I'm able to drive these two, three things, automatically I have a team which is, absolutely charged, because they are getting to do what they want to do, they're getting to do something new, they're ready to explore. I think that is where the entire organization will benefit, and also the middle managers will benefit. And hence, for us as L&D professionals, I think that is one thing that we will have to equip, coach, guide, whatever words we can use, but to help them develop these skills. That's what
Thank
I
you,
would like.
Subramani. Yeah, thank you very much. So, if I look at the essence of what you have just shared, so I think management level is essentially their major expectation by the organization is basically alignment. So, alignment amongst themselves, because they come from various cross functions, alignment below and alignment above, and also alignment with the external world. So, I think. You also spoke about the execution expected at that level, but I think alignment is a major aspect which has come out from what you have just shared. So let's move on. So empowering middle managers is easier said than done. All of you will appreciate it based on our experience. So can we hear the best practices or all of you have implemented in your respective organizations in terms of empowering the middle managers? I think that will be really interesting to hear from all of you. Before that, let me just share my experience at Hiromoto Corp when I was working over there. So, as a policy, we decided that whenever a senior level person moves out for whatever reason, in spite of all efforts to retain him or her, there will be all internal growth opportunities given to the employees. So there is a ripple effect of a senior GM is suppose moving out, then the next level will be looked into to fill up that position, and likewise, and will enter the lowermost person at the entry level. That was a basic guideline we adopted to the extent possible to be implemented. So that has helped us basically two ways: to promote internal talent through proper assessment, at the same time control the cost, because where a senior person is moving out, you are entering a lower level person. So cost is also balanced. At the same time, there is a good opportunity for internal talent to move on. So I'm really excited to hear from all of you. So let's start with Atul.
Yeah, Yashwant. So, even in our organization, as you mentioned, we also have a very robust talent management process where, we have a very active talent pool, which is, nurtured. And our objective also is that, as people grow senior and at senior levels, it has to be a mix. We should have a lot of people from within because they understand the system much better, and therefore they can take the organization forward and they're far more aligned. Yes, we also need some fresh breath, and so therefore you also get some people from outside. But the farming concept, as we call it, in terms of creating internal leaders, is something which is really focused on. Secondly, the governance that happens in the organization, and when we look at different matrices which are there, right, the role of the middle manager and how they are, supervised by their leaders. Now, supervision does not mean interference. Supervision does not mean getting into their day-to-day work, but supervision essentially means that are they able to achieve the desired results? If yes, good. If no, then what are the areas where they need to be developed on? And that's where the learning team and the training team, everybody comes into the picture, and there's an active dialogue, and that happens. Also, we have the concept of a 360-degree feedback, which is, of course, true for all levels in the organization. But with specific reference to middle management, again, whatever the feedback that is coming in, of course, that is acted upon. And, areas which we find, if there are any, developmental areas, improvement areas, and not only from a person point of view, even from a process point of view, because a lot of times it's also processes which may actually be kind of, I won't say hindering, but maybe certain processes are outdated, certain processes need to be modified or tweaked. So that is also looked at in a continuous fashion. So there is an ever going effort in terms of looking at the effectiveness and efficacy of the middle managers.
Yeah, thank you, Atul. So if I had to pick up a couple of words from what you have shared, is basically one really appealed to me is active dialogue. Basically, so when we're empowering, there is a dialogue communication process which goes on, and objective is to enable them, to handhold them. I think that is a really important point you brought out. Let's move on to and bring in Ruby. What's her experience basically on this aspect?
Yeah, very interesting thoughts by others. Some of the practices which we follow at Harbinger. So one of our core values is meritocracy. Reshwan, to relate to what you mentioned that happens in your organization, we thoroughly believe that we don't have to follow the rigidity of that. If somebody is joined in as a fresher, the person needs to spend so much time at a particular role to move to the next level. It purely depends on the person's capabilities to pick up challenges, take new opportunities, and otherwise. So we thoroughly, brand it under meritocracy, giving the right kind of opportunities to the right capable people. While this may sound a little tricky and feel that uh, uh, people don't have that kind of experience to have lived it and then perform, but I think with the amount of training and mentoring piece coming into the picture, I think that gets streamlined. So that adds to my second point that we do a very thorough process, not only the new managers who join in, the first time managers, but also internal. We believe in taking very negative scenarios which happen and do dialogues about how you think you could have resolved it, thereby not only empowering them and telling them that you could find your own way out in taking this ahead, but also trying to put them into situations which they would have never experienced. And thirdly, I'd like to talk about our performance management system that we follow. So we also have this as a product which we've been promoting for as a commercial product, so to say, which is in-house developed. It's called Polestar, and we believe in continuous feedback. So we don't have quarterly, 6 monthly, yearly appraisals. It's done either fortnightly or monthly. It's mandatory to be done once a month, which is just a dialogue. You go back, look at the goals, rate the person, and the ratings you give average out throughout the for the annual year. So with this, we also want the middle managers to kind of take this up, start owning it, bring about transparency. So this is no longer the agenda of just the senior leaders. It has to percolate down, and it also means that they start feeling that they are owners of being responsible to create the transparency within the organization, talk about things that are happening, and try and create this culture of developing their people there on. So I think these are few that I can think of we had to talk
Yeah.
about.
Thank you, Ruby, for sharing different perspectives. If I had to pick one out of them, so I think while the topic given to our panel is on middle managers, but you brought a very important point that middle managers cannot succeed without the support of top leadership. It is the role of top leadership basically to create that environment wherein the managers across level, right from the first level and the middle managers are properly identified, nurtured, developed, and then brought to the upper levels. I think that's a really interesting point. So let's hear from Sravoni what has been her experience basically.
Okay, I think there are a lot of good ideas that is coming in, and I'm kind of taking notes of that also at the same
Lot of
time.
repetition you may
So
find, yeah.
it's a refresher, and it's also a learning time for all of us over here. So some of the things that I have seen in my career, which has really given a great push for the point of empowerment is one, we have really worked very closely with the organization where we say the internal people are the first choice. We are not and there has to be a proper justification as to why you are not taking someone internal and you're going out to search for someone. So that was very, very important, because otherwise its tendency is that I'll go out and get someone. So the moment you say that you have to get it, it has to be justified why you are looking outside. That kind of made people think that what is the justification that I have. So that is one thing that I really wanted to share. The other thing that I personally experienced, and this is very away from what many of you said, many a times how our managers help us and how the culture out over there to handle a problem kind of develops us is very interesting. So this was an organization that I worked, and there was a common process in which the senior management would be working, and whenever we would go with a problem to them, they would always ask, what do you think, what you want to do? And I think that at that point of a time, honestly, it was very, very irritating. I've come to a senior, give me the answer kind of a thing. But I think today when I sit over here, I think that was a real mentoring that they were doing for me, because that's where I learned that, okay, if I do this, this is how it happens. And I learned to try. I took that plunge, and it gave me a lot of comfort. And I think another scenario that I really want to talk about is it happened in the last organization, and that's Thomas Cook, where I was working. And there we had this very well researched management development program, like most organizations have it. But what we moved further was that we said that, okay, if you are a part of finance, you're going to take a project with HR or from a sales team, or very, very away from what you are doing. And that doesn't mean that you're not doing your normal job. You are still doing your normal job. And they were mentored by seniors. So the head of HR would actually mentor the set of people who are from different teams coming and doing a project. There were two, three things that happened. Obviously, they learned about various functions. They learned to get back to their learner attitude, and become the child to keep learning new things. And I think they also brought in a very different perspective, and when they saw their projects getting live and getting into action, it was a proud moment for all of us and for them too. So I think these are some stories that I really wanted to share with all of you. Very different, I hope, and which I felt was very, very strong in how we were empowered, or how people were empowered, or how we helped in empowering people, and how do we help them develop. Training is anyway a part of it. We keep doing it, but these are some things which are slightly away from what we normally do.
Yeah. So since we are sharing the best practices, the actual experiences of success or failure, so is Ravi and Sapna would like to add anything on this point? Please feel free.
Certainly, I mean, a lot of interesting facts, but one of the thing which I have a different perspective, and from TCS as an organization, as also, getting into a very focused intervention in terms of the training and development part for this segment here. See, today when we look at the profiles of these middle managers, they are mostly in the techno-functional kind of roles. It's not just about, technology. It's not just about people management or, just a functional role. It's a blend of everything, and they need to be equipped with this kind of learning. So certainly when we look at the talent development aspect for these middle managers, we need to look at a curriculum which is very robust, and which is challenging today to build this kind of a curriculum, because it is not just stuck to one area here. To help them, to empower them, you need to build those kind of personas. So what we are doing today is we have gone an extra mile here, in terms of getting them evaluated, getting them encouraged to take up aspirational roles. So there is a role and job enrichment which is needed here. So we have a strategic initiative wherein we give them a combo of these aspirational roles. So it is not just about roles. It is also about the job areas which come along with these roles. And for example, cloud computing. So specifically, like if you are a delivery manager, okay, and if you want to get into the area of building your skills in the technology space, so you have these kind of roles where you have technical architect, cloud computing. You have a business analyst who wants to go into a domain centric role with a specific area like wealth management. So these kind of role job areas are being provided, futuristic, and encouraging them to get into these elevated roles. And this curriculum is a holistic curriculum. So apart from the core area, it is about peripherally equipping them with all those traits. So then there is a evaluation which they are made to go through. So generally what happens is, we have the general appraisal cycles, which is like periodic. But this is even more to that, wherein you're actually looking at where they are today, what they need to get into those kind of aspirational roles, or a role which the business wants them to get into. So when we are saying, instead of getting fresh talent from outside, you fill those positions with these personas who are already contextually, they come with a rich, exposure and the culture, they know about the organization, so they fit in really well. So this is the kind of interventions that we are doing. Also, it is about, I'm taking a cue from our earlier session there, where we were talking so much about AI. Okay, so it's Gen AI is just one example, but there are so many disruptive technologies, and giving them an opportunity and enabling them to take up a market relevant skill, fueling them with that. So these are some of the areas that we are looking into very consciously, so that we empower them and enable them to excel in the different zones that we are in.
Yeah, thank you, Sapna. I think if I just yes, Ravi,
Yeah. Coming just back in what Saboni was saying, that the critical factor of the success of bringing middle class on the light is the commitment of the management. As Atul was sharing in Aditya Birla Group, it is a mandatory that whenever there will be any position backend, it will be only accessible to our internal employees. So they will apply, and there will be fair process of the suitability to the position. So that is a good. But apart from that, we have very strong ecosystem to develop the middle managers. Like for example, we have a policy called 2 into 2 into 2. So every middle manager or anybody who wants to grow, so he has to work in 2 geographies, 2 roles and 2 businesses. For example, I worked in the chemicals, I worked in the metals, I worked in the cement, and I have worked with the carbon black business, and now I'm with the advanced metal, and tomorrow I'm going to join a new business, for example. So every 3.5 years I've been moving across the Aditya Birla Group in a different location. I've worked in the Jharkhand, I was in the Gujarat, I was in a Chennai, now in Mumbai. And so this is how, this is one of the great practice to develop the talents. So talents are also open in a middle level, that unless you have a larger exposure in terms of geography, different businesses, many of us in Aditya Birla Group, I think Atul will resonate that we have got at a multiple location, multiple role, and a very different businesses. Somebody has worked on the idea, then Aditya Birla Capital, and so on and so forth. So that is the best way of development of the middle managers, so doing without getting into the silent or single domain development. Apart from that, we have a development assessment center. We also do the exposure with the KYT, know your talent. So maybe if there is a young HR guy at a middle level, I will request Atul to meet him for an hour as a KYT, just see if he is a good talent for your business. So maybe today there is no vacancy with Atul, and maybe Atul will keep in mind, hey, I had met that guy in Chennai. There is a vacancy. I will pull him up for this role, seeing his passion to work in a different region or in different geography. So it all depends upon the ecosystem what the management wants to create. And I can say with great satisfaction that we have built up in the Birla Group since last many years a very, very strong ecosystem to development. And that is how people are very new every 2 or 3 years when they move to the another role, another geography, overseas, India, and all that. So the bottom line is how seamless system we have. I mean, so we also challenge that, hey, if you want to grow, you have to move. You have to challenge yourself to work in the different business segment or something like this.
I think, thank you, Ravi. I think you brought out very important point of breaking the comfort zone, basically coming out of the comfort zone and giving cross-functional, cross-location, cross-business unit perspective, so that the overall organizational perspective is developed at the earliest, and then giving them challenging assignment, which I believe all of you know will agree that even Ramcharan has also brought out this point in his book, that tapping their potential at the earliest and giving them challenging opportunities and rotating them. So I think that is really insightful. I would like to just share two examples of mine when I was working with Mahindra. So one thing I really liked, any sector level president joining in Mahindra Group used to be given a role of group HR head for 2 years before he take up the president of the sectoral role. So handling 2 years at a group HR for a sector president, basically it gives his complete perspective of the organization, and then he's completely ready to take his individual sector, whether it's auto or tractor, likewise. Another example at the bottom line over there, which I witness, is any new person who is joining at any level. So as a part of induction, there was a 2 days exposure for all of us, wherein one day you will dismantle the entire Mahindra tractor by your own hands in a group of 10 to 12 people under supervision. You will open each and every nut and bolt of Mahindra tractor, and second day you will open a competition tractor. So any level, whether you are a senior or a junior or any function, any role, you will work together, dismantle the tractor, assemble the tractor. So now you have touched every part of the product. It really helps you to appreciate. May not sound relevant, but I thought these are the two examples how a culture of development can be really built into. Let's move on in the interest of time. Having heard the best practices, a third question and the last question from my side to all of you will be, what would be your advice to the middle managers who are probably listening to this conversation? Where should they focus on in terms of skills and competencies if they have to succeed in unlocking the excellence in the organizations? So what are the skills and competencies you believe they should look, they should develop, and they should focus on? So let's start with Sapna.
Sure. Thank you, Ashwant. See, middle managers today, firstly, the first thought which comes to my mind when I think about middle managers is about the mindset. Okay. So it is, firstly, you should have an open mind to unlearn and learn. Why I'm saying so is because of the lot of new technologies that are coming into the market. The scenario, the demand landscape in the market is changing. It's very dynamic today. So you need to have an open mind, because today middle managers come with a lot of skill in the legacy technologies. They come in terms of methodology, they come from a waterfall, like in the IT perspective, waterfall methodology, and today we are into in the agile world. So you need to have an open mind to accept this, and accept that without upskilling or cross-skilling, there is no way forward today. It is the need of the hour today. So that is something which is the first thought which comes to my mind. And it is also about, building on the contextual knowledge. It is just having the contextual knowledge does not suffice. So you have to amplify it, build on it. So today, the organization, particularly for TCS, what we are doing today is we are linking their learning to their careers. So this brings with it lot of expectations on upskilling. At the same time, it also has a lot of opportunities attached to it with a reward mechanism. So if I have to advise, or if it is an advice to middle managers, it's time now that they need to gear up. They need to get into new horizons. They need to look into the market, what is relevant. To stay relevant, they need to imbibe the new technologies which is coming in. So when I'm saying, the degree may vary. So at times what happens is, I will just to quote instances where people will say that, I've already been in, so much time into mainframe. What is the need for me to? And I'm doing currently, I'm in a project which I'm doing well. So this is the tendency is for this segment is generally to get a little bit, have a mindset and become complacent. So that barrier needs to be broken. And it's only with this kind of, growth mindset can they really excel in the areas, not just the areas where they are. So it's about, encouraging them to take up the new avenues, the new horizons. So that is something which will be way forward for these middle managers from my perspective. And it is also about, the advice is, when you have a large repository of your contextual knowledge, it is also about succession planning. Like earlier, the panel said, it's about succession planning. You cannot, you should not hold on to the knowledge that you have. It's about grooming the next pipeline, and which makes space for them and space for you to, move further on. So these are some of the areas that they need to really work on. And if today is a time when, a lot of visibility is needed, like, in earlier times, when we look at the earlier times, working silently, there used to be recognition sometimes. But today it's very important to create your own visibility. So we have a platform for contextual masters where we celebrate their value adding stories there. We amplify their learning by, encouraging them. A lot of investment to programs like, prestigious programs like the Ivy League programs, Blue Mint, where they get a platform to network. But unless and until they take that step, and they, really go that extra mile, this would not be possible for them to excel. So that is something they really need to look into, creating their own brand, and that will accelerate their growth and transformation journeys. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sapna, for bringing on all those important areas where I think these middle managers need to focus on. So I will invite Atul to share his perspective.
Yeah, I think Sapna said it all, so I can just say control paste. But just adding on to what she said, my message would be that middle management, people need to understand that they are part of management. Because the term itself says middle management. So it's typically when you say management, people always look up and say they refer to the top management. And what people need to understand is that they are at a level where there is enough and more opportunity to innovate. Instead of just being a postman of just passing on orders from top to the people down below, how can you innovate and actually see to it that things are implemented in the best possible fashion? And believe me, there's so much of innovation that happens at that level, right? Which is very, very invaluable for the organization. Number two, these people also are people managers. So it's not only the functional heads or the HODs who or the leadership team, who are people managers. These are the actual people managers, and what they do day in, day out impacts the outcome of the organization on a daily basis. And therefore, what I always say, that in human resource, human comes first and resource comes later. They need to look at this thing in a very, very serious fashion, that what they're handling is human resource. And they need to handle them like human beings and not just like resources, right? And, again, like Ravi said, at Birla Group, we have 2 by 2 by 2. The idea of that is essentially this only, that people are able to get different exposures, learn new things. Because at that level where they're implementing strategies of the organization, right, they need to have a very, very open mind. And in today's world, with so much of disruption happening by the minute, right, I think it is important that they need to consider themselves also as innovators. It's not the innovation cell in the company. It is not the top team's job. It's their job. Whatever that the MD of the company is doing, they're also doing an equally important job in the organization. And that's why they are there. And that's why they are critical. So my message is that, build your capability, innovate, and ensure that, whatever that you're doing, like Sapna said, you are adding value to the process.
Yeah. Yes, Ruby, what are your thoughts?
If I may be allowed to copy paste both, because it's been said all, I think maybe in different words, I think a curiosity mindset is very important. Many a times middle managers think that, I'm going to be trained by somebody, I'm going to be told by somebody to do something, and they wait that somebody is going to be responsible, because they don't feel that they are empowered enough to do that. But I think with the changing dynamics, if they can have a curiosity mindset, ask enough questions, their own learning is in their hands. They should not see that they are in this box by the organization where they can do just so little. Ask questions, ask about how I can move ahead, what can I do in this direction, what more can I take up. I mean, nobody can stop you from asking this, right? And having that curiosity also shows the amount of interest that you own in a certain thing, shows your accountability, wanting to learn more. I think it's in the individual's hand as well, and not to restrict themselves, saying that somebody is going to come, and because they are just the middle managers and they don't have the power, so they can't do anything beyond. I think they need to come first out of that mindset and think that within whatever my role is, I can at least ask questions, I can at least learn, I can at least know what I am capable of, and ask for work and opportunities. I think that is something that I'd like to add.
Okay, thank you. In the interest of time, I will request Saboni and Ravi to add at least one skill from their side that they would like the middle managers to focus.
Yeah. So one skill I'll say that they should be sensitized to develop self and next. So if middle manager is able to develop his junior manager to take his position, so the management also used to feel comfortable to move you upside. Every middle manager should be frustrated by his manager that, hey, you start thinking your mission next, and interest that development idea and process is to be owned by you, not by the organization. Organization can facilitate, so develop self and others. So you have to develop yourself to move to the next level, next mission, and develop your junior to take your position. What I mean, Marshall Goldsmith has told, what got you here won't get you there. So that has to be sold to the next person that, hey, you plan your mission next. And in our PMS system also, there is a one box which we invite the employees to fill up, is what are your career aspirations. So based on the career aspirations, the managers used to talk and challenges him, and this is how it goes. So the keyword is develop self and others.
So I think there's a lot of things spoken about.
Yes,
only one part that I would like to add up to whatever you all said is that somewhere they will also have to be not only open to learn from top but also learn from bottom. There are a lot of knowledge today the youngsters are bringing into the table and different perspectives. Somewhere the middle managers also are having their own baggages, so it's very important that they develop that also. So I think that was one thing that I felt I wanted to add. So
just if I may add, Shobhanti, a very
thank you, Shobhani. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Yes,
this complementing each other, the Gen Z and the middle managers, the contextual masters, if they come together and combine, I think it will do magic in terms of the excellence that we are seeking.
Absolutely, bang on.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So thank you very much, all of you. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing all your perspective on the different aspect that we have just looked into as a combined panel. So before we conclude, or to conclude, I will say all of you will agree that middle managers is the most crucial level in the organization, but the success of that level depends on the culture. The culture is set by the leadership. At the same time, the culture
seems to be some connectivity
I think
issue.
there's a connectivity issue.
Yes.
We'll probably wait for two more seconds and maybe quickly, there's one question on LinkedIn that if the panel would like to take. The question is from Supriya, and she asks, is there a way as to how we can identify the motivating factors in a new employee related to core organizational competencies like resilience, planning, and organizing?
Okay, let me respond or maybe make an attempt. See, one is that when you are recruiting the person, right, at that point of time also, your, like for example, we follow what is referred to as behavioral wind interview. So which is a detailed interview to understand really the person, who the person is, what the profile is, where do they come from, and therefore also try to understand what are their values, what is it that they motivates them. That's all part of the hiring process, right? And after that, obviously, you know, what we've been discussing here, for a new employee, and I'm assuming if you're talking about the frontline level, right, then the middle level managers are also encouraged to have a regular interface, a regular dialogue with their teams, and understand, you know, because initially it's the initial first 6 months that a person really can settle down, or you know, may start thinking that looking for another job outside, right? So at that point of time, the more the interaction and the more the understanding of the new joinee in the organization, the more are the opportunities to understand that what is it that's motivating that person or what's demotivating. Also, it's an opportunity for you know, the middle managers to understand and rather align the new joinee to the organizational values, to the organizational culture, right? Because a lot of times people may come in with their own perception, and there's a tendency to compare. In my last organization, this is what used to happen. In this organization, this is happening. Now, there could be a rationale for that, because both the things could be right. And therefore, that interaction, that interface is very, very critical. That's what I would like to say.
Right.
Just to add.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely, Sapna.
See, the orientation part is very important. Apart from the interview, where we understand the profile, but for giving an opportunity to the associate or the new talent to understand the organization, that's where, you know, I resonate again with Atul, is where the communication and interaction with leaders or a platform for them to understand, you know, the various processes, and not just the processes, but the behavioral aspect, the attitude, resilience, you know, that is something which, if you give it at the first hand, I think it is extremely motivating. Because at times we see that, you know, the new talent, you know, they are a little, they hold themselves back when they don't get that kind of input, or don't get those kind of interactions initially. I think that intervention, that kind of an intervention from the middle managers or the leadership, certainly motivates the new talent to, you know, be in sync with the culture of the organization.
So I think to add on, the pre-recruitment communication is really crucial. And if we really communicate good, bad, and ugly aspects of the job, requirements, basically the constraints or the challenges, that really gives complete clarity for the employee, and he takes an informed decision. And then the aftershocks can be removed, if I have to add. Yeah.
Yes. Certainly, I think a lot of pre-engagement before even onboarding, there are we are into, that is the new trend where we pre-engage, you know, campus after the campus hiring. So there is a lot of interactions which is happening even before you onboard them. So I think that certainly helps to iron out these kind of issues.
Great. I think thank you so much for all of your wonderful insights, and also taking time out from your busy schedules to be here with us today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all the panelists. It was really nice interacting with all of you. And then I have learned a lot being a moderator. I must humbly say. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We all learned. Thank you, Yashwant. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Pleasure seeing you. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
And now we're ready to move on to our next segment, which is the much awaited segment of this event, the award function. So let's see and find out who is ready to take home the Thrive Trophy and also the Digital Dragons Awards right here. So stay tuned. I'll see you on the other side of this countdown. Now, moving on to the much awaited segment of today's event, which is the Digital Dragons Awards and the Thrive L&D Chapter Award. And the first category, which is the Best B2B Digital Campaign Award, goes to InfiDigit for Rise to Supremacy, increased leads by 22x with strategic SEO in 7 months. Congratulations to the InfiDigit team. The next award for the Best B2C Digital Campaign goes to Tata Motors and Mullen Linda School. Congratulations to the teams. Moving on to our next award category, which is for the best content in a digital marketing campaign. And this award goes to Emphasis Powering Payments, creating a narrative that caught attention for Emphasis Blade, a new age payments technology platform. Congratulations to the team at Epic. Moving on to our next award category, which is for the best content in a gamification marketing campaign. And this award goes to Reliance Jio for Jio Engaging Jito Dandanardan campaign. Moving on to our next award category, which is the best content in a search marketing campaign. And this award goes to Om Jewelers. Congratulations to all the winners. Moving on to our next categories, which is the best content in a video marketing campaign. And this award goes to WRM for hashtag access to clean water. Our next award is for the best content in an email marketing campaign. And this award goes to Swiggy and Mullen Linda's Group. Moving on to our next award, which is for the best content in an influencer-driven digital marketing campaign. And this award goes to Shebang for Father's Day, Strong Dad, Strengthen Daughters. Congratulations to all the teams for this amazing campaign. Moving on to our next award, which is for the best digital advertising affiliate network. And this award goes to Shisham Digital. Our next award is for the best digital influencer marketing campaign. And this award goes to Columbia Pacific Communities for hashtag Chief Experience Officer. Our next award is for the best digital integrated marketing. And the award goes to Shebang for Bero Zindagi. Congratulations to all the teams, and moving on to our next set of awards. And that is for the best digital marketing analytics, and the award goes to InfiDigit for Blazing Success with 11x revenue growth in 5 months for their Boost campaign. The next award is for the best digital payment facilitator, and this award goes to PC Avenue. Moving on to the next award category, which is for the best digital campaign by a BFSI enterprise. And the award goes to HDFC Ergo for hashtag Karo Sabko Insure. Our next award is for the best digital campaign by a real estate enterprise. And this award yet again goes to Columbia Pacific Community for hashtag Chief Experience Officer. Our next award for the best digital campaign for an FMCG category goes to White Rivers Media for Ghar Ghar Durga. The next award is for the best digital campaign by an ITES enterprise, and this award goes to Reliance Jio for Jio True 5G launch. Congratulations to all the winners, and moving on to the next set of awards. The best email marketing campaign award goes to Kentheo Agrady Technologies Private Limited for Zapto. The best innovation in a social media campaign goes to none other than Jeevansati.com and Mullen Linda's Group. Congratulations to all the winners and for all the amazing campaigns that you've run in the past year. Moving on to our next award category, which is for the best Instagram campaign. And this award goes to Unacademy and Mullen Lintas Group again. The next award for the best marketing to a mobile app, and this award goes to White Rivers Media for Pulse Mango Day. The best marketing to a website or blog award goes to Infidigit for leading success by 185% growth in organic transactions. The best multilingual blog or website award goes to Shebang for Ultratech, India's #1 cement powered by a winning digital strategy. Our next award is for the best technology-led marketing campaign, and this award goes to Puma and Leo Burnett for #PumaDie. Moving on to the best trend in moment marketing campaign, and this one goes to yet again White Rose Media for Bingo Meme Premier League. The next award for the best use of animation or graphics goes to yet again Shebang for Dabur Amla Children's Day. The best video marketing campaign award goes to Flipkart Health Plus and Mullen Lintas Group. A hearty congratulations to all the winners. Moving on to our next award category, which is the most innovative mobile app, and this one goes to HDFC Ergo for the Here app. Now to the next set of awards, which is the best employee recognition program, and this award goes to JSW Steel Vijayanagar Works. Now to some big awards for the night, which is top 10 digital brands in the enterprises category, and the award goes to Reliance Jio, Flipkart, Amazon India, Ola, Swiggy, Zomato, Myntra, Big Basket, Make My Trip, and Oro Rooms. A hearty congratulations to all the winners. Moving on to the next award, which is the top 10 digital leaders in the veterans category. And the winners are Lalit Keshre, CEO Grow, Kunal Shah, founder Fred, Bhavish Agarwal, CEO Ola Cabs, Dipinder Goyal, CEO Zomato, Nitin Kamath, CEO Zerodha, Harsh Jain, CEO Dream Sports, Sridhar Vembu, CEO Zoho Corporation, Ankur Warikoo, founder of Warikoo.com, Aruna Daryanani, director and business head, Amazon Mini TV, and Ankur Dasgupta, CMO, Shisham Digital. A hearty congratulations to all of you. Moving on to our next award category, which is the top 10 digital leaders in the Young Achievers category, and this award goes to Divyang Turakia, founder of Media.net, Blog and Planet, Falguni Nayak, founder and CEO of Nykaa, Ankit Bharti, co-founder and CTO of Ola Cabs, Sumit Ghosh, founder and CEO of Chingari, Deepak Ravindran, founder and CEO of Danso, Shashank Kumar, co-founder and CTO of Razorpay, Tanmaya Jain, co-founder and CEO of Infido, Shashi Bhushan Singh, founder and director Shisham Digital, Deepak Jain, co-founder and CEO of FlexiLoan, and Sari Chahal, founder and CEO of Cheetos. A hearty congratulations to all our young achievers. Moving on to our next award category, which is the top 10 digital marketing leaders. And the winners are Harsh Agarwal, founder of Shaubhila, Neil Patel, co-founder of Neil Patel Digital, Deepak Kanakaraju, founder of Digital Deepak, Prateek Shah, founder of Digital Defend, Karan Shah, founder of IIDE, Ankur Warikoo, founder of Warikoo.com, Abhijit Arya, founder and CEO of Internet Mughals, Gaurav Gulbaksani, founder and CEO of Pristine Care, Pradeep Chopra, co-founder and CEO of Digital Vidya, and Yogin Parekh, Marcom Head at the Astral Group. A hearty congratulations to our digital marketing leader. Moving on to our next award category, which is the Digital Publisher of the Year. And this award goes to T-Series. Congratulations, T-Series, on this big win. The Digital Marketer of the Year award goes to Bhagyashree Revatkar from Zoomcar. Heartiest congratulations to you, Bhagyashree. The Digital Entrepreneur of the Year award is backed by Lalit Keshri from Grow. Congratulations to you, Lalit. Moving on to the next two biggest awards of the night, and this one is for the Agency of the Year in the Independent category. And let's see who the winner is. It is White Reverse Media. A hearty congratulations to the team at White Reverse Media. And the Agency of the Year in the Network category goes to Mullen Lowlintas Group. Heartiest congratulations to all of you at Mullen Lowlintas. Thank you so much. And with that, we come to the end of our awards night. I hope to see you all at the next set of awards and summit organized by the Indian Business Council. For the marketers, it would be the Name Awards and Summit. And for all of our HR folks, see you at the Thrive HR Tech chapter. Until then, it's Soumya signing off. Thank you.